call this meeting to order at 9:16 a.m. Saturday, February. March. Second. Councilwoman Delgadillo over here, so that's our roll call, and the mayor. And, we're gonna forego everything, and I just wanna thank everybody for taking time this Saturday, and here I'm hoping that we, start our quest for having a strategic plan, a vision for the future, have that framework, and something that I hope, and I have talked to, city manager, is that it should be a document that, employees feel empowered, so they need to come from them. If it comes from management, then there's no buy-in, so hopefully we have a plan of how we're gonna incorporate the employees and be part of this plan, but today, it's gonna be a process. We're not gonna finish it, but at least what is the framework of what we see for the future, and hopefully here in the next coming months or year, we work towards that strategic plan and employees contribute, and we have the same vision. Thank you all for coming.
Hello, Mayor, if I may. So again, just to kind of mention with the mayor, we wanted, because we have a lot of new directors, and we have our general plan that was adopted in 2020 by mayor and council, we wanted to work on something that would provide that roadmap to all of you, new directors, and also, work with the mayor and council so that we're all on the same road, heading in the same direction, and looking at what ideas, what we want to see for Somerton, and what would be best for, again, our families, our businesses, and our special events. And that encompasses all the departments and what, what you as department directors, will be looking at for the future, and what, we have mayor and council to help guide us through that, and make sure that we're working together on that. So with that said, let me introduce Dr. Sara Amani, professor of multilingual, that's a tongue twister. Multilingual composition specialist at AWC, the San Luis campus. She's the licensed and director of the TED AWC and the Aztexold Southwest Arizona regional representative. She was selected and awarded as the AWC Teacher of the Year in 2023. Her academic credentials include a PhD in Applied Linguistics from the University of Auckland in New Zealand. Certified in English language teaching to adults, so we'll get it. From New Zealand, master's in teaching English as a foreign language, we'll get it. And a BA in English language and literature, both from Erdowasi University in Iran. Her leadership program, which is something that was in the newspaper that was promoted. That's an initiative aimed at fostering women empowerment and gender equality within the community. She received funding for that. And 224 AWC Innovation Fund she received. She also received national recognition for co-authoring a chapter featured in a book that earned the Best Book Award for 2022 from the Council of Writing Program Administrators. We are very pleased and thankful for Dr. Amani to be able to join us and lead us through this strategic planning. So without further ado, I don't know how you want us to address you.
Yeah, I'm going to start. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
My colleagues and my students call me Dr. Amani, but don't worry about it. You can just call me Sara. I'm fine with that. When Louis actually approached me and said whether I would be interested in moderating this very first retreat of Somerton strategic planning, I had mixed opinions, but at the same time I got very excited. I'm like Louis said, I work in AWC San Luis campus, so I drive through Somerton 4 days a week, right? So I do have this really, like, kind of passionate feeling about Somerton. At some point, I even thought about buying a house in Somerton, and now I'm his neighbor, actually, so that didn't happen, but I'm very honored, and I'm really grateful to be here, and please allow me, although I'm not employee of Somerton City Council, City Hall, allow me to include myself in the royal we when I'm referring to all our initiatives and activities. So yes, like the mayor said, today we're going to have our very, very first retreat, trying to kind of lay out this roadmap, right, so that all the stakeholders, the council members, and all the 9 department directors can be involved. And what is really, at least for me as an outsider, right, what's interesting was that we already have started collecting the needs analysis of the residents of Somerton and also the employees of Somerton City Hall. So that's really a preliminary and very important step that you have taken, and that's going to really help us with this strategic plan. You should have the agenda for our retreat today. Our very first session is going to go all the way to 10:30. And in our first session, we're going to pretty much, like I said, go over the needs analysis survey results. We do have copies, but Armando is going to kind of walk us through the results that we have. I have been told that there is no deadline to it yet, so residents can still actually complete that. So we're going to go over that, and then we're going to look at the general plan that Louis referred to as having been completed in 2020. So that is a great accomplishment. So that's going to be really the foundation, right? The general plan is going to be the foundation for our next step, which is the strategic plan. And in this strategic planning, what is really, really important in the first session is going to be our SWOT analysis. The strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats or challenges analysis. We will have a 15-minute break, so if you want to use the restroom or if you just want to get some coffee and snacks, you can do that. We will reconvene at 10:45 when our second session starts, and that's when we're going to get into, like, okay, now we've done the needs analysis. We have gone over the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and challenge analysis. We're going to see how we can craft a mission and vision. I do know that 2 weeks ago, again, based on the document that I received from Armando, that some council mission and vision statements have been drafted. We're just going to go over them, and we're going to look at some of the strengths and how we can come up with our final draft of the mission and vision. We'll do an exercise on visioning, and that's going to really help us prioritize our short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals. Then we'll have our lunch for 45 minutes. There's a mistake there. Our session 3 is going to be a debrief, and that's when I understand it's after lunch. So it's going to be a little bit like more fun and more, I guess, collaborative, and we're going to work on a vision board, which is why you probably noticed all those supplies that we have. So we're going to get creative, and we're going to be kind of visionary about what the future, right, of Somerton is going to be like, and we're going to hopefully by the end of the day come up with 4 really cool, like, vision boards, just like the one that I created for myself, and I have it, and we'll go over that. So that was just a very quick, preview of what we're going to have today. So like the mayor mentioned, we all are here because we want to see how we can come up collectively, decide on an action plan, right? And how we can discuss all these priorities, strategic priorities that we have by establishing the short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals. Just so you know, you have a copy of this PowerPoint slide in case you want to take notes. There's room for it, right? If you may have any questions that you may want to, ask one another or ask me during or as each break, feel free if you want to, use these notes. Do we have pens?
Yes, we passed off.
We do, okay, perfect, all right, perfect. So we got that as well, and we have the agenda, a copy of the agenda in case you want to refer to it, that's going to be, there for you on your table. Again, I tried to be, like I said, I am gonna use the royal we, okay? But also allow me to sometimes like be an outsider, right? To kind of look at how things may be in a critical way, but also in a more objective way. So this is some information that I found from the United States Census Bureau that I myself found very, very interesting. Now, I have provided the link. If there's still stuff that you want to double check, let me know and I'll open that, right? And I'm sure that most of you know, all this information, but the information that I found, like as for the population, so the last census was done in 2020, as you can see, 14,197. The estimate by July 1st, you can see that there has been a little bit of increase, obviously, in the population. The age group was also interesting, under 18, 29, like almost 30%. And then the majority, obviously, are 18 to 65, like more than half the population. As for race and ethnicity, again, it's not surprising, right, that the 96.2% of the population are Hispanic and Latinx. And out of this percentage, 48.2% self-identify as white, 3.4% as Black or African American, and 2.1 very minimal rate, they self-identify as American Indian, and then almost 40% two or more races. Okay. Another thing that really caught my attention in this Census Bureau information or facts piece was the mean travel time to work. Okay. And this might be something that you may want to discuss, right, or have in mind for your short-term or mid-term and long-term goals. That for workers 16 years plus, it seems that between 2018 and 2022, it takes 22.2 minutes. That probably shows that, how they would have to go to Yuma or they would have to go to San Luis, right? And so that was something that really caught my attention. Again, I was a little bit biased about what information to pick, and these are the stuff that really caught my attention. As for the income and poverty, you can see the people in poverty are like 16.8%. And again, this is all based on the 2020 United States Census Bureau information. Per capita income in past 12 months in 2022 dollars, you can see that it was $20,000. Now, I'm sure that you can also discuss that, whether how that can really, contribute, right, to that income and poverty status. As for health, we have 5.3% with a disability under 65, and then that last one also again caught my attention, 24.7% without health insurance under 65. Now, before I move on to the next slide, is there anything else that you want me to actually maybe check if you're curious under that on that website?
Household size.
Household income size, any projections for household family income.
Yeah. And this is already connected to that file system, right?
Yes, it is.
Verification. I could also look at the sex as well. This is a female search 49%. Population characteristics, and that's super easy as well if you wanna like, look this up on your cell phone. Okay, here we got some information on housing. Is there anything that actually grabbed your attention there?
Well, I'm more curious as to what the average household size is.
I guess it doesn't show. How do I, Alexis? It actually shows cast this one and not just the PowerPoint. Right, so this way.
And Mayor Louis, the reason I bring this up is because knowing the household size can help us make population projections for all the new subdivisions, all the new apartment complexes that are planned, so we can more or less know what to expect with the additional units.
Okay. Let's see, I'm just gonna scroll up and down, and you let me know if there's anything that actually, might be of interest. I see housing units.
That's it right there, persons per household, 2018, 2020, 3.29.
What was that, 320?
Okay, we're good.
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, so we just had a very quick look at some of the, facts that are obviously out there for everybody to double check, right, about Somerton. This was also interesting for me at least, you know, so I did a little bit of research and I found out about the structure, and I'm so, glad that we have representation from all the different, sectors and stakeholders, right? And like I said, we are here to collectively come up with a roadmap that can help us with our strategic plan. So that's also important. The very first thing that actually, got me interested, first time I visited the Somerton City Hall, was the photo of the Somerton, city, which is the capital city for families, businesses, and events. So these are going to be the pillars, right, of whatever strategy, whatever, I guess, initiative that we're going to prioritize. We need to, I guess, bear in mind how we can accommodate the needs of families, businesses, and special events. So we have some representation here today as well. So we're going to look at the needs analysis because that's going to really give us some really important information. Armando is going to be walking us through this. You do have, a copy of the responses from the residents and also from employees. And Armando.
And, I just want to point out, that, you know, this is something that we started and, like Sara mentioned, it's an ongoing, and this will give us, you know, some ideas, for mayor and council, but we really wanted to get, you know, I received feedback from mayor and council that they wanted to know what the community wanted and also what our employees were looking for. So hopefully this gives us a little bit of direction on that.
So about two weeks ago or so, we started to brainstorming a little bit about doing putting some survey questions together for the community, for the employees, to sort of gauge what our community, our employees think about the best little city, and getting some input so that we can have that information to then guide us on whatever strategic direction we decide to embark on. So the questions were all pretty much just vetted between Louis, Carmen, and myself. We bounced it around and then arrived at a set of questions. So the two handouts that you have in front of you, one says the community response summary, and the other one says the employee response summary. So the employee response are the responses that have been submitted so far by our employees based on the Survey Monkey that was submitted about 2 weeks ago or so. The community response, that went out about a week after the employee survey was sent out. So, the question number one is, in your opinion, how can the city of Somerton become the best little city in Arizona for family, business, and events? And let's look at the employee response first. And on the employee response, you'll see there some kind of a summary of what the primary responses were. The question number 2 is, what type of improvements would you like to see in Somerton to support its vision of becoming the best little city for family, business, and events in Arizona? So you'll see the responses, and once we have a discussion in the section, then we can bounce around some, what you think about those. Question number 3, what is the best thing about living in Somerton? And again, those are the responses there. Question number 7 was an open-ended question that asked, do you have any additional comments? And those are the responses there. If you go to the next page, we have 4 open-ended questions where they would give us whatever responses they thought based on the question. But then we also have 3 questions that were multiple choice. We thought that maybe some community members or employees might not have maybe be thinking about the response, so this gave us an additional method of getting additional information. So question number 4 is, what specific characteristics define the best little city in Arizona, and how can Somerton embody those qualities? So the choices were tight-knit and friendly community, high quality of life for residents, easy access for services and activities, and natural beauty and green spaces, and then all of the above. And those are the responses based on that question. And again, these were multiple choice. Question number 5, what improvements or enhancements would you like to see in Somerton to support its goal of being the best little city in Arizona? Improvements in road infrastructure and public transportation, development of more green spaces and recreational parks, enhancement of education and healthcare services, promotion of cultural and artistic programs, and then all of the above. And those are the responses. The other multiple choice question was question number 6. How do you envision Somerton's community engagement and involvement playing a role in achieving its vision of becoming the best little city in Arizona? The multiple choices were involving residents in city planning and decision-making, promoting collaboration between local organizations and the government, encouraging volunteering in community projects and social services, creating regular spaces for dialogue and citizen participation. Those were the responses. So that's the employee results. On the community response summary, it's the same question, and you can read through what some of the responses were. So far, the survey is still active. We're still gathering information. So hopefully we'll continue to gather more information over the next couple of weeks until we decide that we've had enough of a survey response, and then we'll gather that information and provide it to all of you in the future. Any questions?
Armando, how is this survey going out to the community? Like, who is getting it, via email, how?
For the community, we have in the front counters, City Hall upstairs and downstairs, like a little flyer that has a scan code. So, so they scan that and it takes them directly to the survey, and then they fill it out and it's all the thing. So, we've instructed staff there when residents come to the City Hall to pay their bills or whatever, we encourage them to then, scan that survey and then respond to it.
We also posted it online.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, doing other metrics.
Yeah.
We try to get a different population, a different cluster, with the high school students, so we don't receive a response from the school. So perhaps we can run a separate campaign focused on, the perspective of the younger audience.
Yeah, I think, the overall for the survey is just to try to get it to all age groups, and really just see what, but it's pretty consistent, with the answers, so that was good that a lot, the responses that we're getting is, tight-knit community, and, they like the safety and so forth, so that's a good thing, but of course, there's more to be done, so.
Yeah, on the community responses, I want to point surveys. One, is six surveys are in English and Spanish. And so the responses that we received in Spanish, we consolidated, based on the response into those categories. So wherever the responses fit, we put them into that category, whether it was in English or Spanish, so that we, if it was a similar theme, then we put it into that category. So the survey responses that you have now is consolidated between the English and the Spanish. And I have the raw data, available for you. If anybody wants it, you can also have access to that.
So we're just going to talk a little bit about what in any of those questions, right, or in the two main responses from the residents and from the employees, really stood out, right? We did talk a little bit if there was some information that you found like interesting, overwhelming, right? So we're going to be talking about that. But you actually asked a very important question, right? Because apparently right now, the majority of responses are collected from the people who come to the city hall for whatever reason, right? Whether they want to pay bills or any other, I guess, inquiries they may have. But again, as going back to the Census Bureau, right? So for instance, we have almost 80% of our population are under 18. Do you feel like there is a way that they would actually come up to pay bills, right? So how can we really reach out to them? How can we make sure that we are inclusive of all these age groups, right? Maybe you can try to find, I don't know, like different ways of outreach or trying to reach out to different age groups, different, I guess, different occupations, and whether you have social media and you can do some more like promotion there as well. So that's something that we can bear in mind. The question that I have, Armando, for you is there a way that we can track like the age groups of the respondents to this, or?
Not based on this, or it wasn't designed, no, that's not a question that we didn't go into the demographics or any type of that data. It was just open-ended. That wasn't something that was planned from the beginning. But we are planning on Jasmine to reach out to the high school to ask permission to do survey at the high school. So we did reach out to for them, and then it was also set up through social media again, through Facebook, and there was other ways of reaching out to the community as well. Yeah.
Do you have any suggestions on how we can actually reach out to more, I guess, respondents other than social media or other than the QR code that we see? And Jasmine, it would be perfect if that way we can, reach out to our high schoolers, because again, that 80%, we don't want to ignore them, right? We don't want to ignore their preferences, their goals, and their vision.
I'll make an effort to team up with the high school.
Just a real quick suggestion on I pay my bill online, so I never go to City Hall or nothing. I think that most of the people that are gonna go to City Hall are older people. On the webpage for the express bill, is there an ability to have that notification there that they can make that survey?
That's a question I have to verify with Vanessa, but if we don't have it, we can find a way to integrate it and have it there. Maybe we can run a 6-month campaign or maybe a year campaign and just keep it there, and then every year we retract it around this time.
I think it'd be a great opportunity, especially if we have new residents, that they come in, they could see that, and that's something that, we could talk to.
I'm sure there's an option.
An option in the finance, when they set up their water bill, say, hey, welcome to Somerton, and could you take this survey for us, and maybe give us some feedback, so that'd be something.
One more thing. I think, like at the police department, we get a lot of walk-ins, a lot of people come do fingerprints, fire services. Maybe if we can have like a flyer there with that information, and our staff have that information so they can promote it as well in every department.
Yep, well, I'll add.
Yeah, and then even like the senior center or any public traffic should have all of those, specific surveys.
We could put something on our, garbage trucks, little thing or something, QR code or something. That's visible every day, all day.
That's right.
Then we could maybe set something up for special events.
Capture our local. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Well, maybe like in every other tent, how we have, like in the Tamala Fest, they have their their number, what they serve, and then they typically put their Zelle, and underneath it, we can put survey Somerton.
Right. And I think maybe even, you know, especially at the special events, I think if you sign up for the special events, you know, get a special event shirt or something, just something that kind of motivates them to participate. So I think the more we participation, especially our special events, because it's just not residents, but it's also visitors. And I think it's, you know, it'd be interesting to see what our, you know, visitors, and maybe have that option, you know, are you a resident or are you visiting? And especially for special events, so.
Yeah, and then on the survey for the employees, there's several of us that don't live in Somerton, but consider it our community because we work there. The survey was driven as if we live there.
Yeah.
If it could, with the employees at least, give them an option if they're not a resident, what they see for Somerton.
I think we could have reworded that,
Yeah.
live or work.
Yeah.
Because some people don't, actually.
They don't consider it their community just because they live there, yeah.
I think we did I did
Yeah, we did
look at the data for where our employees live, and about 40% of our employees live in the 85350 zip code. Everybody else lives in Yuma, Welton, you know.
And I did, send that out to mayor and council, and also sent them, you know, the demographics of our age, mayor and council, I sent that to you, so you can look at that when you get a chance. It really breaks down, you know, Armando mentioned, you know, surprising, the amount of people that actually commute.
Yeah, and our workforce is getting very young. I mean, the two youngest generations dominate the city of Somerton workforce now, and it was very bad. Yeah, millennial and Generation Z, I think, make up more than 50% of the workforce, yeah.
And I have sent that info out to the mayor and council so you can look at that, because it was very interesting, to see that, you know, how that shifted, from not even 5 years ago, maybe.
Even 5 years ago, yeah. It's dramatic how the shift in the workforce has happened. The baby boomer generation, there's only just a small percentage, maybe like 9%. Generation X, Generation X about around 30% or so, maybe. Yeah, still holding tight. Still holding on, but overwhelmingly, millennials and Generation Z are just dominating right now. Baby boomers hanging in there.
Now, Armando, you mentioned something very interesting. 44% of the employees who live like elsewhere?
No, about 40% of our employees live in the 85350 zip code, and about 60% live outside of that.
Okay, all right, that's actually interesting again. If 60% live, and that probably, explains, right? The mean travel 22.2 minutes that we have up there. Now, it would be actually interesting, since you brought that up, that we do a little bit of compare and contrast, right? So if you could just have these responses, because employees, bearing in mind that 60% of them live elsewhere, right? Whether it's Yuma, or San Luis, right? And then we have the responses from the residents, right, who live in Somerton. So let's just look at question one, like side by side, and let's see what are their highlights, what are their preferences, what really stands out in the residents' responses versus the employees' responses. Or you know what, we may actually display that, no, their preferences or their needs or, you know, their goals are kind of aligned, which might give us a different, you know, like interpretation. So looking at question one, how can the city of Somerton become the best little city in Arizona for family business and events? What do you see, like, mostly for residents?
For the residents, it's another supermarket.
Right, exactly.
For the employees, it's more parts, that kind of stuff, yeah.
Exactly.
I think one of the reasons why for the employee responses, it's more parts, since their generation is getting younger, the younger generation is looking to take breaks during their lunch and go out, sit in the park and enjoy their leisure time there.
That's true, and you know, Jasmine, if you're talking about 60% living in San Luis or in Yuma, they already have like, Albertsons or Sprouts and Walmart. So obviously that doesn't, you know, it's not something that they would mention, right? While for residents, that's really the highlight, okay? So, we obviously want to accommodate to both, right? We want, because again, we say the best little town for people, right, the residents, businesses, and special events. And special events can actually be attended both by residents and people who live like elsewhere, right? So that's interesting. What about question 2? What type of improvement would you like to see to support this vision?
And going to the residents on the more grocery stores,
More grocery stores, okay.
kind of same concept behind it.
Right, okay. I also see the road improvement and the maintenance, right? So that's something that we can, and park improvements, okay. And then we obviously have some additional comments. So what are some of the like recurring themes that you see? Park improvement. Yeah, park improvement.
Green spaces.
Green spaces, exactly. And this is exactly the main reason we want to do needs analysis, right? Like the mayor said, we don't want them to think, or we don't want the people, the residents of Somerton to think that this is, the strategic plan is coming just from the upper administration, that they're not really like accommodating to their needs and preferences. So this is a very, very helpful information. Now, Armando, do we have a timeline, like when we are expecting to collect all these
We haven't
responses?
set a timeline, and we'll probably have a discussion to see, when we get at a good, point where we think we have a good, sample.
Okay.
And I think the goal there for that one is trying to make sure that we're reaching all the demographics that we need
That's
to.
right.
So today, those are some good ideas, and I think, you know, I'd like to run it till the end of the fiscal year, to really get hopefully a better feedback to mayor and council of what, you know, people are, you know, residents are asking for, or what they see. But at the same time, I think, a lot of these things, mayor and council and department directors, are working towards that. So what I see here, you know, it kind of matches up with what they've been working towards. So that's a good thing. I mean, it's actually a good thing, addressing, you know, some of these things that residents have been bringing up. You know, mayor and council and staff have been trying to address those and continue to address those. So, I was actually, quite pleased with, you know, the responses and actually the plan that, the city has to address those. So I think the direction is good.
And then also as a director, because like a good majority of, my team members don't live in Somerton. So in my team meetings, what I did was I told them, read the questions as if it's talking about your workplace and your, you know, see what, and so I just kept on reminding them. And I think, as of Friday, all of my team members have answered the survey, just from me kind of pushing it in their ear.
And we are, for the employees, we are tracking by department.
Yeah.
We're tracking, we know which departments have good response rate and which ones are still falling behind. But we'll reach out to them.
Okay, perfect. So, by the end of fiscal year, right? So
End of
we're
fiscal year,
going to do, statistical analysis, and, you will hear back, right, about, the trends or the recurring themes that, from both residents and employees. Okay, so that was the start, what we need really for the strategic plan, right? I guess starting from people, right, and their needs and their preferences. What we have next, and this is again the information that I found very, very helpful from the general plan that was, put together in 2020, Louis, is that right? And you should have either one copy or two copies, on your table. Exactly. It's called general plan. If you could just pull that up, like, show me exactly, if you got it. Yeah, that one, exactly, that one. And in case you may want a copy, Louis, can they just?
Yeah, we actually, send it digitally to everyone.
It's available on the website as well, so that's how I actually found it. It's available to the public, and in case you want a copy handy in your office, I guess contact me.
Yes.
Now, there was something interesting that, again, from my scholarly, mind, that I found interesting reading through the general plan of Somerton that was collected in 2020, was this element, that actually communities with a population, I guess I can list here, for communities with a population between 10,000 and 50,000, who remembers the population in Somerton?
14,000.
Exactly, all right.
It's more, but, yeah.
It's actually like 19.
Right. So we actually fall right in that category, that these, elements are actually required to be addressed, right? Land use, growth areas, circulation, environmental planning, water resources, open space, and cost of development. And what we will be actually working in our visioning exercise in session 2 will be specifically on those 7 areas. However, Louis, maybe you can help me. I know you said you were not part of that team for the general plan. Or you were
No,
not
I was
actually
not.
But
I think Saul,
so anybody else in this room who may have been involved in that general planning?
No, I think,
look at,
Carmen would have been.
Just you, Carmen.
hey, Carmen,
Carmen.
Carmen wasn't able to be here today, but, yeah, and that's why we wanted to have this, because really, there's a lot of dirt that were.
Both chiefs, actually, no, chief,
So first of all.
Saul, you were the one?
what questions do you have?
How can I help you?
First of all, we don't want to put you on the spot, but first of all, this was amazing. I actually found it very, very helpful, a very helpful document, so kudos to you and the team on putting together the general plan. I do have a question for you though. So on the second column that you can see, it says communities with a population below 50,000 people can consider some additional elements, right? And you see we got 11. The main reason why I have highlighted 4 in those 11, and I may be wrong, but again, this is based on my extensive reading of the general plan, was that I noticed that those 4 were also added to the first 7. Could you just maybe tell us, like, what was the decision behind it? Like, did you decide to just pick randomly, or did you feel like those are what will help the city of Somerton, or?
it was more, based on the fact that we didn't want to just do the minimum. If we're doing this, we only do this once every 10 years.
Right.
So we wanted it to be as complete of a document as possible. The ones they've got highlighted there, those are all very important elements that maybe they could be accommodated into the basic ones, the ones that are required, but it's just better to have them as standalone element. Specifically, the transportation one, that determines what our roads are. Are they an arterial road, a collector road? And that really sets the stage on planning around those growth nodes and the veins of the city, the major thoroughfares. That's a really important one. And then the neighborhood one, that's, if you read the beginning of the general plan, kind of the vision of the city, one of the key elements is strong neighborhoods, strong, peaceful, family-oriented neighborhoods. So we felt that was a very important one to have there as well. And I believe there's also an economic development element in that maybe it's not even on that list of 11, but we added it in there just to have it in the general plan, because this is the.
Yeah, I know that economic development was, I think, chapter 11, and that was my next question. Like, where did that come from? Did you find a different list or did you feel like because of the need, then maybe you should add it as an additional element, which is great that you mentioned that.
Yeah, it was, again, we didn't want to do just the minimum. We wanted to really, we felt that the 2020 to 2030 time period was going to be transformative for Somerton.
Right.
And it really is turning out to be that way. So we want it to be as prepared as possible.
That's right. Yeah, thank you so much, Raul, for that, clarification. And just so you know, these 4 elements that you see, the extra ones, the additional ones, I noticed that they were kind of merged with some of those 7 to 3, since, circulation, which is number 3, number 5, transportation and transit, was kind of, put together with number 3. So that's why in the strategic plan that, worksheet that we will work on in session 2, you will see that, for instance, I have circulation, and then / transportation, and transportation, I have italicized it because that's part of the additional versus the required element. Or for instance, for open space, which is number 6, you've added number 3, which is recreation and park, right? So park and recreation has been, regrouped or, merged into the open space. Same with cost of development, which is number 7. In the general plan, number 7, public services and facilities, have been actually grouped together with number 7, right? So in case you may wonder why there is a / italic part, it's based on the general plan and what the decision was at that time in 2020. So just wanted to let you know where these required elements are coming from. And now what we're going to do next, we're going to do a SWOT analysis, and this is where I will need Jamila's help. And we're going to have a worksheet. It's called SWOT analysis, City of Somerton Strategic Planning Retreat. Now, it's important to do a SWOT analysis because in this process, you're hopefully going to be able to determine the context, right? And the framework for our priorities, what are our goals, right? Whether we want to focus, like Saul said, in like 10-year period, right? Or we're going to look at longer periods for like long-term goals and the actions and initiatives that we're going to take. Now, SWOT is an abbreviation that stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Some also call it SWOT, either T or C, or challenges. So strengths, we're going to look at, hey, what are some of the characteristics of the city that give it an advantage over others? So what are some of the advantages or, strengths of Somerton compared to San Luis, or compared to Yuma? Okay, what really makes Somerton stand out compared to the neighboring towns and cities, right? But we also have to consider the weaknesses, right? We can't obviously ignore. Yes, there are lots of elements that we're so proud of, but what would be some characteristics that City of Somerton may be at a disadvantage compared to the neighboring cities, right? We're also going to look at some external factors. So the first 2 are internal, okay? So internal characteristics that make Somerton stand out, or some internal factors that are still considered as weaknesses, okay? And then we're going to look at 2 external factors, opportunities, external opportunities to better achieve the objectives that we have in mind, and some threats, and some challenges, okay? So threats, we're not talking about like crazy threats, we're talking about some of the challenges. So some external challenges or external elements that can be problematic, okay, that can cause trouble for the city. So we're going to be looking at that, and we're going to do a SWOT analysis. How about we have like maybe 10 minutes, discussion. Feel free if you want to talk with one another in your group, and then Jamila is going to help me. We're going to list them, right? Maybe do a group discussion after your mini group discussions, because it's very important that we document all this, right? Because it's going to help us in our second session. So go ahead and talk to one another, talk about what are some of the strengths. All 4 of them. What are some of the strengths? Like brainstorm, what are some of the strengths of Somerton? Weaknesses? Feel free to talk to one another.
They're looking for you.
Yeah. Definitely.
I think that it's a fairly safe community.
People feel clean.
Yeah.
That's a community.
The sense of community, yeah, because you guys. When your middle school goes to like championship, you see all the parents there, like, there's so many, you know, all the schools and.
Concordia, land, like, all these, like, just here for a couple of years, and I'm.
I think the high school, with the elementary and high school now, we have the opportunity. So it's in the high school. Weaknesses, I think, services.
The traffic count.
But this would be business service. What are we saying? They don't have.
Highway 95.
We have to focus on.
Probably, not enough for all the residents.
So, let's say, activity.
The water rights, I don't know about
We
you
have-
guys,
We have plenty of
like
water.
utilities, like.
I think it's easy.
I'm not sure.
You think they're?
Transportation?
Yeah.
The white cat. You know, the arrow, right, the arrow. Yeah. No, I think you're right. Opportunity. Highway 95. There's land up there.
I live on the road.
But it's not great.
So the water itself, we don't pay because they have their own water rights, but yeah, so we don't pay.
Business opportunity.
But, yeah, but on top of that, even our electricity, we have ID and ID is cheap. Yes, APS is super expensive.
I pay about $90 for my water.
I think the housing market.
Actually, there we need more housing.
So, I guess we could,
So weaknesses.
Pero de,
You wanna buy, But eventually the market's either gonna.
I think,
you have too much crime, is that what you mean, or?
No, I just.
Oh, we're gonna be stretched.
The last one.
well, the first, the competition
And then the lack of housing, you said?
for the other, for businesses.
Housing, and then they're just either they're priced out because there's no inventory, or,
Yeah, that kind of goes into that, yeah.
yeah.
You know,
Part of housing, I guess.
So that would be another.
with the high
Yeah.
school, you can now,
I think
the growth of the, high school. There's gonna be more opportunity for housing and development.
I think that.
Literally, because not only that, the, that's another weakness, the airport,
What's Somerton gonna look like in 20 years?
all these noise contours, you can't build anything, anywhere.
Everything else I feel like we have, you know?
I didn't know that that's.
Which is something that.
We have everything,
Like on the Mesa, there's no farmland, there's no water, good to go, but you're.
I don't know how to word it.
For example, people further farming around.
For accident potential zone.
That's why I feel that, I don't know, and the weekend comes.
So you should try to grow.
Okay, let's build around the valley. Oh, but the
Bringing the
Less of their, you know.
better part or more.
Next generation.
I think that's how a lot of people, yeah. I agree. The elderly are younger. What I've heard, I never talked about I've tried looking for an extra.
So developable land.
Nothing to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, so,
Hold on, that's me, everything. What do you see as far as? Yeah, what like.
helicopters and everything else.
Okay.
That's, yeah.
You see it in the,
I do like that about it. Like a bond.
Prior to it.
The other
Like, that could be like. I hate to interrupt, because I know like how engaged you are in this discussion, and I'm overhearing lots of great ideas, so how about we share it with one another, right? And I'm pretty sure there's going to be lots of similarities in your responses as well, so we're going to be collecting them. Janet is going to be writing them down, and then we're going to just like stick them around, and Andrea will collect them for the purpose of minutes later. Now, in the minutes, you probably see that I did my brainstorming just like you. And I may be wrong, right? Because I want to be an insider, but I'm still an outsider. So let's just go over stuff that, again, as an outsider, I see. And maybe you can correct me. You can be like, you know what? I don't see it as a weakness. I actually see it as a
about the city of Somerton, I actually put like good neighborhood with a great sense of community. And I know that you also discussed this in your work, right? This close-knit, very, I guess, connectedness, right? That, you know, my uncle and my aunt, family, very family-oriented. I see it as a positive thing, right? Again, you might look at it differently, and I know that you looked at it differently. You did acknowledge that, but you also brought something else as a weakness. You want to share with the group?
Yeah, so one of the things I said was, you know, with the strength, family tightness. However, that can go counterintuitive to the other way. A lot of gossip around the streets and stuff like that, so it can work as a weakness. Too many people talking different things, so.
And you also added that that may also contribute to the resistance to change, right?
Resistance to change because we, you know, looking at the survey, we have a age of our community that is, you know, it's not very in age. The younger people are not maybe staying, but the older people are staying, and there's a resistance to change way in when it comes to improvement in making changes in the family dynamic. You know, it's hard to change the older we get, so I see it as a challenge.
Yeah, for council too, I see it positive because we grew up there, we love our community, but also the small tight knit, and that's something that we've talked to the city managers, and I've talked to the council members too, know your role, like, they can't go directly to you and complain about this and that, and it's very common that probably, with council, that's probably my biggest, issue is more understanding our roles as council members or community friends, so make that distinction.
Right.
And, it's getting better, but.
Okay. And then Armando, as the HR director, did I say that right?
Manager.
Oh, okay, HR manager. You also mentioned about two things. One is job opportunities, and the other is retention. Okay, and that's something that, I know we also struggle with AWC, right? I've been in AWC since fall of 2019, and I have worked with 4 different supervisors. Come and stay for a year and they leave, like, for a better job, or, you know, whatever, so.
Yeah,
Do you
so,
want to talk about that?
so we categorize that as a weakness, that there are, for the community at large, there are limited, employment opportunities. So for young professionals that want to get started with a career, that there's just not those opportunities there in Somerton. They have to leave and go somewhere else to gain that experience. And then, from a city government perspective, for, bringing talent to work for the city, to deliver on the vision that, we want to, deliver, it's challenging to attract, employees, and then once we get them, sometimes we get them, and then retaining the talent. And, I mean, a perfect example, pretty much, within the last in less than 12 months, I think we pretty much almost completely revamped the leadership team.
Right.
Completely. I
We
mean,
only have Saul actually from the general plan today.
Not even.
Yeah.
I wasn't a director back
it
then.
was a planner too. It was a planner too, but.
Of course, council, mayor, council.
Chief audits and so forth, but practically everybody else is fairly new. I mean, a lot of our directors have been here with us less than a year, less
So
than
you
12
see
months.
that both, this is what I actually put. I was thinking about it. I was like, is that an internal one or is that an external threat? And that's why I put it on both. I'll put it both as employee retention, as both a threat, right, for the opportunities that we're gonna.
Yeah, we have it as a threat.
Right, and also as a weakness, which is why you see that, they're both. So let's just go over, so like I said, like you mentioned, for the strengths, inclusive community, strong values, cultural diversity, crime rate. Well, what is the status of that?
In the past, 5 years, it has been rated one of the safest cities, except for the past maybe 2 years. Yeah.
Okay, so can we still call it low crime rate compared to the
To
neighboring
other
towns?
cities, yes, we have.
Okay, all right. Public safety services, services?
Correct.
Okay.
We actually put that as a strength, as our response times, I think, are very good.
Response time?
Yeah, look at us.
But it's also,
So we had the discussion, in regards to, our growth and the police, the public safety is not growing with our growth. As we.
but that also could be a weakness because we have some of the officers that they'll leave, and one of the reasons because they want more action. They want to go to a bigger city. They think for that fire department, they leave because of pay, or they leave because they want to go to the department where there's SWAT team, there's a HAT team, there's, you know, so it could be a strength, but then also could be a weakness.
Internal.
Internal, I mean.
Yeah. Okay, any other strengths that you want to add to the list?
Highway 95,
Pardon?
Highway 95.
Highway 95,
Yeah, we put that as an opportunity.
as an opportunity. Okay, where should we put it, an opportunity or a strength? Is that?
I think in both.
It's there already, so. right?
And it exists
There,
already.
it's existing.
Okay.
We started off, you drive through it 4 days.
Right. Okay, education, schools, so AWC, we have.
We'll put that as a weakness.
I know. And I have talked to Susan Zambrano about it,
Because
because
we put colleges, limited opportunities for our.
very limited opportunities for AWC campus.
The strength we put is the elementary and the high school that, you know, we see that growing and more, getting better, in our community, but the college is our weakness. You know, with the new high school, I think, you know, and the elementary, the way it's going, that's a strength, but our weakness is the college and the.
Yeah, we do have one English professor in Somerton campus who always panics because almost never makes, you know, the cap, because they're supposed to teach like 5 courses per semester. And Susie is still hopeful, right, by the new high school that we're going to get. It's like, hang in there, we're getting there, right? So, I put excellent schools for strength, but I agree, Somerton campus, AWC Somerton campus, that's definitely a weakness for now.
This is being recorded.
That can be also, that can also be an opportunity, right? So-
Weakness not in education, AWC.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm very protective, I take all the blame.
So, yeah,
We're working on it, so we can also put it in opportunity.
If I may share something about those schools in Somerton, and they're rated as A's and B's for most of them, there's 6 of them. And then the other thing is they have very, very good special needs programs for the children in every single school.
6 excellent, let's be clear about it, 6 excellent schools. Agricultural roots,
Huge.
huge, absolutely, which is why I put it on their strength. Before we move on to the weaknesses, anything else you want to add to that list of strengths?
The farmland agriculture, fellow made a comment in regards to our land growth, we can't grow because of that. So we kind of.
We're the only city in the county.
I got an idea for that.
Stay recording, Louis.
Yeah. We have no desert land. Yuma has desert land, Welton has nothing but desert land, San Luis has desert land. We have the most valuable farmland in the world in Somerton, completely surrounded by it. And the farmers,
Completely, but we're gonna.
Almost.
they know what they have, they know what they're sitting on, and they just do not let go of it.
English professor and can type.
But that ups to the character of Somerton.
No, it does,
I think having that, I love having the farmland.
it's green, it doesn't feel like a desert, you're right, yeah, that could be both a strength.
I think for, weaknesses, yeah, we let diverse housing, so not just low income. Well, we only have low income apartments, a lot of low income.
Yeah, we have to have more diverse housing.
So if we could, like, work on diversifying
Right.
the housing market.
Okay, now again, as an outsider, becoming an outsider and insider, like, you know, we don't have any hotels, and I actually learned that from Louis, it was like, we don't have any hotels, I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, hotels in South County are just starting to become attraction. The whole
an opportunity for short-term housing.
Short-term housing.
One of our weekends we found is more, medical facilities, better hours, and, right now we have, I guess, Amanda Gitter,
Hey,
our hours
are great.
It's only during the day at 9, and then the pharmacy, you know, I don't know if it's being promoted, because a lot of, like you mentioned on the census, we have a lot of people older, that they get medications that they have to probably see them on the close at 7, or, you know, so I think we need more medical.
Emergency, or
We have an urgent care in Somerton and it closes at 9 p.m.
I think they don't do a good job. Yeah, because I don't think about going there, I'll go to
And
urgent
it's,
care,
and it's
Yuma.
quicker in Somerton because we have all the facilities, you know, it closes at 9 on Saturdays and and it's true what the mayor's saying, and I'm gonna bring that up because, our, rates or attendance is low. Because the community probably doesn't know, and so.
Yeah, and the other thing is,
Go in there.
for me, I'm not like, you know, maybe it's just like for people with access or whatever, if you have insurance, so, but that, you know, if I take that, I'm pretty sure the majority of people.
Instead of going to
Yeah.
the ER,
Right.
go to Somerton, we're open until 9 p.m. every night,
Yes.
Monday through Saturday,
And textbook cost.
everything.
Not Sunday?
Not Sunday.
No, Sundays are closed, but
That's
they're
what my
open
kid
on.
said.
When I had COVID, I did that.
We all did it.
Okay. And
Oh, what?
even the pharmacies, you know, there are pharmacies open late too, so.
You were in internal weaknesses?
we put, the traffic signals, we need turning arrows, everybody's always asking, there's a,
Turning light?
No, but that's like an Arizona thing.
But it can also be a weakness, then you're gonna get complaints that they're waiting too long in the
My
intersection.
Christmas tree is done, my next CAP is got light on Somerton and.
Somerton and May,
Oh,
Yeah, another gate.
If you put an arrow, then you're gonna get complaints that they're waiting too long.
oh,
Because you gotta extend the pacing on the road, so you gotta look at.
No,
Don't look
There's
outside.
that way is 4 lights, so what I did, I took a shortcut to Chevron.
Put the camera there and guarantee nobody.
Yeah, look at that spy camera right there.
Phoebe,
Nena.
you know who gave me that idea? I know. You know who gave me that idea? Phoebe. She told me, cross through there. I didn't know you could do that.
just remind everybody, this is being listened in, so.
I guarantee we get a lot of complaints that labor employment. When we go and actually set a camera, there's no one that's gonna wait 4 lights. So I invite anybody to record and
Okay.
see if they can go through 4 lights.
Challenge accepted.
7:55
It's never happened to me, and I hear it, and I go through there
7:55 a.m.
Yeah.
4 lights.
Yes, I was gonna say, it's happened to me too.
The only thing I gotta complain that the yellow light only lasts 3 seconds instead of you must 6 seconds. This guy got a ticket because he turned in, while he was in the center, it turned red. And they gave him a ticket, and I don't know who I talked to somebody.
And that is the standard for the county.
I Yuma is 6 seconds, so it's like, I never pay attention, so one day I did, I myself.
Yeah, Yuma is 6 seconds, the county, Somerton, and Stanley is 3 seconds.
Yeah, we had them all checked because of that.
But that is true,
Yeah.
we can change that.
So,
Recording.
for another reason, I have a business not paying taxes properly, so not paying their PPP.
Yeah, we have that as a threat.
Yeah.
We can make that nice. Yeah. For all businesses.
Well, it's-
Yeah,
it's-
I would say that's a threat too, that's a challenge,
Yeah, and then no paying salaries, in the city of Somerton.
That goes next to the job retention.
That's right.
That's the job.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So now that we have the strengths and weaknesses, let's look at the external factors, which are our opportunities. Now, for opportunities, we obviously going based on what you said, right? Limited job opportunities, we need to create more jobs. We need to diversify economically. Recreation opportunities. Wanna speak to that? Am I looking at the right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
We're on these guys.
Yes, recreation opportunities, I think there's room for, big improvements.
Mhm.
I think there's opportunity for, different cultural things as we grow, we can bring in more programs and recreational. I think there's gonna be more, we need more, diversified, specialized things as we grow. There's more interest in different things in Somerton as we're growing. So I think it's gonna be important that we bring in, have more parks.
Yeah.
More, and as we grow, actually put in more, or we're gonna have, more pocket or neighborhood parks, and then you have your regional parks.
Yeah.
And usually the pocket parks are in retentions in neighborhoods and a quarter mile from walking distance. So
Right.
those are some of the Ramadas,
Right.
like that.
Yeah, Rodney, right?
Right, yeah.
So, I don't know if you have looked at the recreation and park section in the general plan, but I found something very interesting, and I have cited it there. It says improve recreation opportunities by co-locating a major 30-plus-acre community regional park with the new high school.
Yeah, we're currently developing that one.
Okay, perfect.
Being designed.
That's being designed right now, that's awesome, okay.
No, actually, we're having two different projects.
By the high school?
Yes, we have a park and then we have soccer fields going in.
Actually, the design of that presentation is actually coming to Mayor and Council next month.
Ooh, okay, interesting. Another thing that I also found in that general plan, and you can maybe give an update on like where we are, was revitalizing existing downtown districts by filling vacant storefronts.
Well, it's, at 100% capacity. I think our issue with Main Street is perhaps the churches.
Self-tax generating.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Non-self-tax generating businesses. And then, but there is interest from the community to, and from outside the community to bring their businesses to Somerton. There is just a lack of, occupancy spaces, retail office.
And then opportunities, oh, go ahead, Mayor.
Yeah, you go to a furniture store there in Main Street, it's like, you pay cash? I don't try to do taxes. I was like, telling me that?
The mayor, how much?
Don't put the receipt in my name, right?
I picked the manager, I was like, I didn't wanna, like, the mayor, so I was like, yeah.
Opportunities,
Now it's furniture.
yeah, real quick, we had like we said, the access to Highway 95, the opportunities at Parkview Commerce Center, the partnership with the Coca-Cola, and then, the high school, you know, just the development of the high school itself to attract, and also, you know, partnerships with them in the future with facilities and recreation.
Probably not. Wait, could you just go a little bit slower?
High school, so it's the Highway 95, the access, Parkview Commerce, because of the commerce opportunity, the high school, the partnerships with them, and then the partnership with the Coca-Cola. Maybe there's opportunity to move that forward more.
And we also added the short-term housing, right, as an opportunity to get regarded there. Anything else you wanna add to the opportunity?
We put as an opportunity, lots of open space. With open space, it gives you the opportunity to plan for the future growth.
That's the kind of thinking I said, Armando, but then like, I didn't realize what, Saul just said, that it's all farmland.
Yeah.
Because that's what I figured, and I said in my group, we have enough area to build something, you know, or not.
Lots of open space, but limited occupancy space.
Valuable. It's very valuable, and then the only open space that we do have is on the Mesa, but then that's restricted
By the airport, because the military airport won't let you build any residential up there. So, yeah, I mean, if you look at it, you think you have nothing but open space, it's room to grow, blank canvas, but it's more complex than that, actually. Yeah.
But opportunity is, look at annexation and what areas we can annex here in the next coming years, being that it's not developed, that we're looking to.
Definitely, yeah, we have a extensive planning area that, our municipal boundaries are nowhere close to, reaching the planning area boundary, so yeah, a lot of potential for annexation.
A lot.
All right, let me go to the last one, which is threats and challenges, and then we can have a very quick break. Budget dollars, see, I know Louis was like, let's just put that away, but I'm like, budget is important, how can we, so.
We always talk about
We always talk about budget, right? So I put that, budget.
Put the dollar sign on it.
But we had, ours is, as a threat would be getting landlocked. So looking at annexation, making sure we don't get landlocked from City of Yuma and Catholic. You know, the threat's always the competition from other cities for employment and businesses. You know, sometimes, if in bigger cities, we have unwanted visitors that come from bigger cities, trying to hide out in a small town, so that's always a threat. Yeah.
Oh, you mean like, criminals, you mean?
Yeah.
That guy with the helicopter chief?
Unwanted people. Let's just say unwanted visitors. And then I think what was mentioned earlier, threat is you know, the businesses and the TPT and those types of things.
Got a good one for threats. The golf course closing. That's definitely gonna be coming up soon in the next coming months, once, it stops getting watered and it turns brown and.
We're gonna go golf course.
Deterioration. Another thing I have for threats is lack of amenities, so, I feel we have good amenities, but just in general, amenities. Lack of housing and lack of population.
Like what, yeah?
That arose, but Councilman Delgadillo just addressed it, but the comment was, to go to a pharmacy, we gotta go to Yuma to.
Oh, there you go, there's a lot of
urgent care,
leakage.
we gotta go, so it was more amenities.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah, in terms
as
of
far as,
storefront amenities.
yeah,
The neighborhood, basically, yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot of leakage to Yuma for nearly all services.
okay.
And then thinking, in terms of threats, I think maybe thinking outside the box a little bit more in terms of, the municipality, doing it a little bit different. I don't know how to word it, never mind.
said business.
Yeah, a little bit more
Business
business-minded, a little more business-minded.
Okay, so speaking of the mindset, so we've come up with like one mindset here, resistance to change, right, as you mentioned earlier, and then being more business-minded. Any other mindset that, or mentality that we feel like we have to really work on, to fight or to really change, to shift?
And that's the overall, the open-mindedness to change.
Yeah.
And that goes with every single.
To stop having a fixed mindset and have a more open
Remain
mindset.
progressive. I can, yeah, yeah. We don't wanna lose our families to bigger cities or cities just around us.
Yeah, and then, you know, well, I think that would go off into just innovation, continue to think of innovative.
Oh, and then one more thing, yeah, Main Street, maybe, beautification of Main Street, revitalization of Main Street,
Absolutely,
making,
opportunities?
in terms of threats. So right now, our threat is Main Street is just, it's a Main Street, but it's not, it's at its potential. And if we don't shift, perhaps, its reputation or shift into more commerce, type of, Main Street, we could lose that chance to really get that attraction.
Okay. we actually went, over the break time, so how about we have like a 10-minute break, okay? And our vision and mission, because no strategic planning can really be implemented without having a vision, right? Without knowing like what is the direction that we're going to take this whole plan for. So strategic planning is worthless unless there is first a strategic vision. Now, based on the draft that I was given by Armando, and Armando, you can probably give us more context, but and you have a draft of it too. It says City of Somerton sample vision and mission statement. HR activity 23rd of February. So I would assume that you had a task force for that. Where
Task force was one.
oh, the task force.
HR is a small department.
So we do have two samples that we're going to actually compare and contrast. So if you look at the second and the third page, what I have done, I have put the two vision statements kind of together, and we're going to see what are the keywords, what are the strengths in each of them, and do you have any suggestions? Now, let me highlight this point with regard to how are vision statements and mission statements similar and how are they different. Mission and vision statements are very similar in that they both obviously look at the bigger picture, right? That's our vision, like where we are headed. However, vision, so vision is on top, right? Vision is inspiring people to dream, while mission or mission statements inspire people to take action. Okay, so just look at like a building, right? The roof of a building. We have the vision on top, and then we have the mission right below that. The mission statements are obviously more concrete, more action-based, than the vision statement. So let's go ahead and do a little bit of compare and contrast. So let's start with the vision first, and you do have highlighters on your table. We're going to look at compare and contrast the two vision statements, right, the vision on top. We're going to look at the vision statement, and we're going to see what are some of the keywords. Do we have any that are being repeated, or do we have one that is highlighted more? So feel free, get the highlighters that you have, and let's just go ahead and highlight the keywords in the two vision statements, okay? So in vision statement 1, what are some of the keywords that we can highlight together? Feel free to say it out loud. What are the keywords in the first vision statement? And you can look at the second page. Exactly. So we're looking at the vision statement that's on page 2, okay? And we're going to complete the table. So we're looking at page 2. Page 2.
Agricultural heritage.
Okay, so that's one. What else do we have? We have safety. We have familiar warmth. We have inclusivity, collaboration. Close-knit community, right? We have that, but I feel like it's kind of repeated because we have that familiar warmth, right? So we want to make sure that we don't repeat ourselves. And then we also have every voice is heard and valued. Again, I feel like that's redundant because we did mention inclusivity, unless we want to highlight it, okay? Again, I'm looking at it from an English professor perspective. You're looking at it from administrator perspective, okay? And then let's look at the vision statement 2, and let's see what we have there. What are some of the highlights, what are some of the keywords that are highlighted for you?
Families.
Again, we got families, businesses, and events. So we have the motto, right, the slogan, which is families, businesses, and events. And we didn't have that in the first one, okay? Again, we have safe, friendly, and inclusive, right, so perfect. So I would say that the three things that are common between the two is the safety, friendly spirit, right, and the inclusivity, okay? we have rich agricultural heritage. In the first one, we had agricultural heritage. Here we've got the richness of it added. And then, what else? And then we have equal opportunity for all, which kind of speaks to that inclusivity, exactly. So these are the things that we highlighted. So now let's look at the second part, what is this? The strengths. What are the strengths of the first one? The first vision statement. What really like stands out to you? What do you really like that you want to keep?
To be the essential role.
Okay.
But I don't think that'd be a good mission statement. Because people
You mean
wouldn't know how to read.
Vision statement. We're talking about the vision, or you want to.
Oh, no, I thought you were asking what we liked about it.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
So you want to keep it for the vision statement.
I like it, but I don't think it'd be an impactful vision statement because the word is essential. It's kind of hard to.
Maybe someone reads it, maybe.
Maybe that meaning, but maybe with a different verbiage.
Different, okay.
I mean,
okay.
close-knit community.
Close-knit community, so we want to make sure that we keep it in our final draft. Okay, anything else we want to keep?
Safety.
Safety, absolutely. Do we want to highlight the inclusivity?
Inclusivity is a popular word.
It is. It's a trend.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so.
I like the word fostering, so these are all like real words of fostering,
Okay.
inclusivity.
That's right. Okay. Now, again, from an English professor perspective, I looked at the two, right? And I also looked at the definition that we have, which is, we're working on the vision, not the mission yet. We're not working on the action-based side of it, right? So vision statement is inspiring people to dream. We're inspiring people to be innovative and just to be in this la-la land, right? To be in this dreamy land. And for me, I feel like I agree that it's important for us to include the families, businesses, in special events. Or do you feel like we should add that in our mission? For me, that's the pillar. That's the pillar of our.
Yeah, I think it's more of a mission statement.
Okay. All right. So this is what, based on the two, I came up with this. So I tried to see what are the keywords that stand out, and I came up with a third version that we're going to work on.
But we have to have Saul read it out loud.
Yeah.
Saul voice.
What's the essential?
Okay, Saul, ready?
It says,
The final vision statement.
It's not final. We're still working on it, okay?
The final
The draft.
It's a draft.
To be the quintessential rural haven, the city of Somerton envisions itself as a harmonious blend of agricultural heritage, familial warmth, and an inclusive and collaborative spirit. We aspire to be the best little city, where every voice is valued, families flourish, businesses thrive, and events inspire.
Okay, so what I tried to do, thank you so much.
Can we change from business thrive to businesses sprout?
We can absolutely do that. So again, the part that, I was trying to do in this version, which we're going to be working on, being visionary, right? Which is why I specifically used the word envision, and I specifically used the word aspire, right? Because we are inspiring people to dream. We're not being action, we're like, hey, what is this la-la land that you see, okay? And then I made sure that I included the best little city, the slogan in our vision statement, and I wanted to include the family businesses and events. Everything else, we can absolutely work on. So what would be stuff that we're going to change, or, so we have kind of a final draft, between the two samples that, HR task force provided for us. Go ahead.
For me, I think, the quintessential, I mean, when I read that,
It's quite mouthful.
well, and the thing is that, to me, it's like, it means small town, but I think small town feel, but not a small town. And I think that word, to me at least, that's what I get from it.
Quintessential rural Haven to me means like, we're okay with being rural.
Okay.
And rural to me is still perceived as low income in our community because we still use USDA, which is rural based. So we wanted to, that's what it comes down to, we're not rural based, like there's money, our median income is 68,000 compared to San Luis, which is 45,000. So our income, we have higher education, higher pay, which correlates to higher education.
That's right.
So I think our population is well educated, although we are small and in South County, it doesn't mean that we're rural in any form.
Absolutely. I agree with you, and especially just being the start of our vision statement, right? Because that's going to be the attention grabber, right? And we don't want that. Again, talking about fighting with that mindset or mentality of poverty, right? That we don't want to kind of like inject in them this feeling that, hey, we're always gonna be, this, little town that not much innovative stuff can happen. We can even get rid of that phrase. We don't have to even start.
Yeah, I would say something like,
Well, that part of it right there, I mean, that's a little bit more, removing that, then the city of Somerton envisions itself as a harmonious, the rest of it, I mean, that might be more on target of what we're thinking.
Exactly.
We need something just more dynamic, it's like harmonious, familiar, almost like boring. So
Something more exciting, something more like growth, it's up and coming, it's.
I would say
place
we're
to be.
families, I still need to think about it. I would like to say something, in the terms of families throughout here, so they set roots here and grow from here to bigger and better things.
People are fertile.
Like, we're families throughout, or we're family businesses out, like, because we set our roots here and we grow here, and it correlates with our farmland, it correlates with growth, it correlates with beauty and, with a growth mindset. Like, I think we need like a word that's tied into farming that we can use in the mission statement.
Okay.
Like a versatile word.
Land of
Right.
opportunity.
Yeah.
The land, where dreams come true.
You're suggesting that we somehow, incorporate that growth mindset into our.
Yes, make it, this is just my opinion, but make it seem that it's an up and coming place. You wanna be here, this is
Right.
an exciting place to come live, work, and grow.
Okay.
We're transforming ourselves. So, I think of, when I grew up in Somerton, I think of the town that it was when it was a population of about 5,000 or 6,000.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was playing Little League and stuff like that, it had a different feel to it. And it was very, it always felt like very warm growing up, and there was like a field of dreams type of quality to it. That's the way it felt to me when I was like around 12. So, but as we're moving forward, we certainly want to look towards the future and transform ourselves from still keeping that family base, still keeping that.
I think the mayor, what you said right now,
Well, no, I said Superior is rural by choice, that's their model.
rural by choice. Yeah.
Okay.
And there's, like, we want to be rural in a sense of family and community, but we're
futuristic.
yeah.
I think what's gonna do a lot of transformation is the advances in technology, because with the advances in technology, you have a lot of people that can work remotely in a major corporation but still be here in Somerton. So I think that's gonna change completely from the economy of 20 or 30 years ago. So the new economy, I think, is gonna allow for a lot of remote work, people to still stay in the small town but work anywhere in the world.
Work at Amazon,
Yeah.
but they want to live in Somerton because they like living in Somerton.
That's right. So, at break time, and so we don't have to come up with, we don't have to finalize the vision statement, right? But this is a good step, this is a good start, that we have a draft, but we can still, based on the suggestions, right? That we want to kind of, give this impression that we have this growth mindset. Yes, we are rural haven, but we have this growth transformative mindset as well. So, that's something that, can probably be worked on, maybe in the second retreat. Remember that hope, right, that strategic planning is worthless without a strategic vision, need that vision.
Yeah, well, what I said at the beginning is that I hope that employees, that this is not a document that goes by management, hey, here, this is, you gotta believe, like, hey, you gotta have a full, all the employees contribute to the mission and vision. If not, it's not gonna be, another document, another mandate, it's something that they need to take ownership. How do this? We are setting a framework, but it should come from the employees and what it is. And at least for me, I've been, at my place I've been for 24 years. And I've seen strategic plans, and the ones that work are the ones that are from the bottom up.
Right.
Absolutely.
And what we can do, Mayor, is, have this at least, to start with, and go out to the employees and say, okay, this is, where do you see change, or what would you like to see, and bring that feedback, work together, and then present it to mayor and council for revision, and see if that will work.
Perfect.
Homework.
Exactly, more homework. So that's the draft that we can say we've come up with, and we want to make sure that we incorporate, different department suggestions as well. So let's do the same thing on the mission statement, right, which is more action-based, and I guess less visionary and less like dreamy, okay? So as for, and that's page 3. On page 3, could I please volunteer you to read the 2 sample statements we have? And then every time there is like a keyword that is highlighted, maybe you can just raise your voice a little bit, so that highlights it, yes, that's the keyword.
Are they, but they're not highlighted, do we,
No, you do highlight it by.
Okay, got it.
Highlighted, yeah. By the pitch of your voice.
Very good.
Yeah.
It's different.
Yes.
Slightly different. Okay, to be the quintessential rural haven, the city of Somerton envisions itself.
I think I made a mistake. My bad. I actually have copy pasted the vision statement. How about we go to page 1?
No.
I'm like, this is exactly the same as the vision. What's going on? So my bad. Let's look at the mission statement on page 1 and then, read both of them.
The second one, right?
Right, that's right, yes. Yes, Somerton is committed.
The city of Somerton is committed to preserving our agricultural roots while cultivating a safe and nurturing environment for families. Through open communication, mutual respect, and proactive engagement, we work hand in hand with our residents to enhance quality of life, promote unity, and ensure a prosperous future for generations to come.
Okay, so what mission statement actually has, again, because it's action-based, we're going to come up with, some of the strategies that we have in mind, which is why in this sample mission statement 1, we have that, hey, through open communication, we are hoping to achieve this vision, through mutual respect, through proactive engagement, right? Let's look at the mission statement 2.
The city of Somerton is dedicated to creating a thriving community where families can flourish, businesses can thrive, and events can inspire. We prioritize safety, inclusivity, and educational excellence while honoring our deep-rooted agricultural traditions. Through collaboration, innovation, and unwavering dedication, we strive to make the city of Somerton the best little city for everyone.
Again, this may be me, but mission statement 2, I feel like is all of a sudden becoming very visionary, right? I feel like there is a lot of overlap between mission and vision, and we don't want that, because the mission is more like, hey, what are the factors, how are we going to achieve those values that we are claiming in our vision? So again, based on these two, I have come up with a mission, and I tried to make that distinction that let's put aspiring part separate from the actionary part, okay? And based on this, I came up with, we're going to be working on this, right? Unless you really love one of these two samples.
I like that one.
I mean,
I like the second one.
you like the second one? Okay, so let's look at it. The city of Somerton is committed to preserving our rich cultural and agricultural roots and enhancing the quality of life for all residents. Through open communication, so we have to say, hey, what is our strategy? How are we going to achieve that? Open communication, mutual respect, and proactive engagement. So I tried to make sure that I take these keywords from the two. We are dedicated to creating a thriving community. Our mission is, I'm like, let's just be specific. What are we trying to achieve? Is to promote safety, inclusivity, and excellence, and to take collaborative initiatives. And maybe here we can talk about innovative instead of collaborative, or we can say collaborative and innovative initiatives to foster innovation and ensure a prosperous future for generations to come. So this is, like you mentioned, that we have future in mind, we have the future generation in mind, and we don't want to be stuck in this rural mindset, that we want to have innovation, we have this growth mindset. So which is why I included that in the mission. Now, is there anything that you like or you dislike about this? It's long, and mission statements are always longer.
I think,
Mission statements are, vision statements are usually 1 to 2 sentences long, and mission statements are at least 3 sentences long.
The word preserving,
I was about to say that too, like, is that, maybe,
I guess maybe another word, recognizing
Or embracing.
because the preserving to me seems like, we're old ways, trying to.
Concrete,
holding it
we're
on.
keeping.
Yeah, we want to keep to the, which, it's evolving, and so, we want to keep that, as part of our memories, but not the way we're gonna always do things, I guess.
Preserving agricultural, like, are we really going to try to preserve, is that, does agriculture belong in a mission statement?
Right.
Do we identify as,
Yeah.
we have agricultural roots, but is that, if we have it, my question would be, how are we gonna preserve it, or it's just another, just to do a mission
Just a word.
statement? Yeah, so to me, it doesn't,
Yeah, preserving, I don't
it's
like
just
the word.
another, like, okay,
Yeah.
but a nice word, and
And then the end.
no substance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we are, it's, agricultural roots, but that's where we came from, but not where we're going.
So you want to be more evolutionary,
Yes, I think so.
okay, so you want to evolve rather than
Right.
preserve,
We want to remember, but we also need to move forward.
okay.
Yeah, like, well, I came from agricultural roots but my parents were always like that. For us, it was like, you gotta go to school. It was like, you don't
Be
want
better.
to, because they were farm workers. They weren't farmers, so. For us, at least for me, it's a different.
And I agree, I think
So
that's.
you value
Yeah,
those.
yeah, it's hard work,
but
yeah,
move
but,
forward.
yeah, move forward. More-
So maybe that's a
more
good
education,
word, that's a
more
good
hard.
word, is the Somerton is committed to value our roots and enhance.
You know what I mean? Because you value them, you value the roots of what you were
And
taught.
I think we also want the new generations to value that.
Yeah. Standard
But
agricultural
not
roots.
get stuck in there, just move forward, go to school, go to college, and come
Yeah.
back to Somerton, so.
Yeah, I don't like preserve it.
And I think also that for preserving the agriculture, people might interpret it as, okay, we're growing, we're taking agricultural land away, so how are you preserving that?
Yeah.
Contradictory.
Yeah, like the mayor was saying, we don't want to be contradicted.
Okay, all right, so preserving or valuing or evolving, so that's something that we can discuss further. Anything else, any phrase that's kind of, you're not sure about?
Are we taking or removing agriculture out of that whole statement? Was that the gist of everything?
I agree that it doesn't belong in the mission statement.
Yeah.
So starting with.
Value of the roots, maybe value of the roots.
It's the first thing in the mission statement, like, is that really the most important thing that we wanna do?
For now.
For open communication, mutual respect, and proactive engagement, we are dedicated to creating a thriving community. Our mission is to promote safety, inclusivity, and excellence, and to take collaborative initiatives to foster innovation and ensure a prosperous future for generations to come.
Yeah, I think that first sentence kind of,
I don't want that to be the highlight or the very first, like, impression for our mission. Anything else that we want to add to those first two sentences?
and again, Mayor Council, you know, and everybody else, this, we can go back to the employees and review it and get any more input and before we finalize stuff. So at least a draft, finalized draft.
Me? No, I was just reading it. Yeah, no, I do like the quality of life portion of that first sentence. That's obviously very important to everyone, but
Quality of life,
quality of life.
Enhancing the quality of life.
Enhancing the quality of life.
if you want to include that.
Yeah, because I think that's, you know, what we've seen is we're always, that seems to be a priority. I think quality of life is very important, level of service, you know, that's always, that I hear something important, for our residents in our community.
Anything else?
Okay, so the starting point.
And it's a good starting point. Okay, perfect, awesome, thank you. So this was our mission and vision statement, and we went over the needs analysis survey, we did a SWOT analysis, and we continued with our vision and mission statement. And now, we're going to be looking at this other worksheet that we have. And now, I'm not a graphic designer, so I'm sorry that I came up with a very basic kind of, what I had in mind with regard to the pillars, right? And, our values and our mission and vision. So again, so this is all based on the general plan draft that you were, part of, right? Right? And so I went ahead and I'm like, okay, if we are gonna keep, or if we are going to keep, just like when I was writing my PhD dissertation, I had the research questions like, right next to my, computer monitor, and I kept like comparing and contrasting. Hey, are these results that I have really address these research questions or not? So whatever initiatives we're going to come up with, right, short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals, how can that really benefit families? How can it benefit businesses, and how can they benefit our special events? Okay. And with regard to these areas that are required elements, right, and some of the additional elements that Saul mentioned that they decided to include, which is why I have added it as slash and then italic. I want you in your group for about like 20-25 minutes before lunch. We're going to see how we can come up with some initiatives, right? Some actions that you feel like can really benefit in the area of, let's say, transportation, or in the area of water resources, in the area of recreation and parks, right? That you want to see, let's say, in the next 5 years, or in the next 10 years, or unless you want to focus on.
I think 5 years is.
5 years is perfect. So let's have 5 years in mind, right? In the next 5 years, what innovative initiatives do you really want to see? And I know that budget is important, but let's put that aside for at least 20 minutes. And let's again be very visionary about it. Go ahead.
And just so Sara and I talked about this was, you know, this is a great opportunity for mayor, council, and for department directors, so that these are gonna be, as we develop these, are gonna be our CIPs. And so, you know, those are the things that, you know, if you have CIPs already that are in there, put them on there, but then also share, because when we put this together, that's gonna help you with the roadmap of what we wanna see. Of course, we're gonna get, you know, ideas from all the employees and from the residents, but this is a good opportunity, so you understand what direction we're going.
Exactly. And since we are kind of limited, and this is the very first retreat for Somerton strategic planning, is that okay if they come up, like each group comes up with like 3 to 4 initiatives so that we can all discuss at the end of our group discussion, like before lunchtime? And you don't have to like come up with an initiative for all those 7 areas, but I would say, depending on your department and depending on the council members that you are, right, try to negotiate with them and communicate with them to, bearing in mind the needs of our residents based on the survey, their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So keep looking at them, right, and keep seeing what do you see as threat, what do you see as weakness, and where do you see City of Somerton in 5 years, okay? So let's do like 20 minutes, and by the end of this 20-minute group discussion, I want each group to come up with 3 to 4 initiatives in any of those areas that you feel the need for, okay? Perfect.
The land use.
You run away from it. First thing I see is water resources.
Councilwoman.
Preservation of water
That would be,
Public services.
Water, trash, you know, all that. It kind of already.
So how would families benefit? Well,
But that's one of the.
Not so much.
Okay, well, how will families benefit?
Detention. Yeah, we've done them to, we pay for them to go to do all this.
we get it right in.
So, and then
Right,
no, I think those are something that.
Plant facilities that are.
So that's something that.
yeah, so I mean, how we call that to amend our employee.
So easier access.
Gallons more than we realize.
And we will, anything other than sanitation, so I think that's the main thing that we have to do for. And one thing that we can
What's the cost of those trainings, like, if you have to put a number on it?
of course, we have to make sure we have infrastructure, all that, we have to plan for.
But as far as like all the training, I mean,
They'll pay all of his school. Indian Health Services, which is the Indian, part of the government agency. But anywhere in the US or here? Anywhere, but as long as
When we, put together,
But the schooling itself is almost $100.
They can walk there without.
So if it works, it's like, without having to borrow an agency.
You know what I mean? So like you said, the value of it, you kind of take it away.
value.
Yeah.
So, amending the public safety policy, what benefits does that have to the
Well, like also it says, I mean, the growth, if there's a lot of growth, the public safety goes, the crime goes up.
I kind of found.
We're gonna bring you a jacket right now.
Knowing that they have enough. Do you want me to turn that on? I think it turned off.
Water.
Oh, yeah, and you're all breathing.
We're not free, we're
Free.
It has remote control. That table.
Hey, the mayor is very comfortable right now. Are you
Estoy bien lindo, pues
Anything else, Councilwoman, on the public safety part?
Yeah, for, we do have, for businesses, I think, for people.
Because we renewed the contract.
So we go to Somerton. No, we go, our travel ball goes there due to the fact that.
Well, yeah, so we have never.
So I'm looking at the one that.
Yeah,
But we've never broken it in. There's nothing we ever broken ground rules. We have, so, that's what I want to know, is that, water requirements, they can hire that, for businesses,
Yeah, there's. Yeah, because it's so separated, because when you take people, you want to be able to go look at the other teams, scout at the other teams instead of walking here and there. And then, granted, they only have one shaded field for spectators, called the tennis field. I'm sorry, and I understand that the shade structures are expensive, but if they would have did less concrete, they could have probably done more data shade. But they don't, and then I had the disabled mom. My mom loves to go to the game, watch my daughter. There's no seating area. It's the concrete goes up and down, yes.
Ever since there was a drawing, it's
That's why we have to make a break on like shade.
Shade.
Maybe we'll reduce the number.
I don't know when the other two clubs are coming on, but I know they have two now, but they're different sizes.
I go here, we have sun all the time.
Yeah.
They're building a second gym now.
Your guys' parks are good too. I like your guys' parks. They did a little more lighting and stuff.
Yeah.
Going back to public safety.
What I wanted to point out is that if you look at the survey, the trees up there in both employee and community.
There's one more, and they're like, wow.
That would be, I guess,
Would that be environmental planning
oh, yeah,
or open space and parks?
might be there today.
Growth
It
area.
might be an open space.
Create a.
Create management.
Brought up.
Have us commit to,
So,
There might be land opportunities for this officer. Convenience store.
And that would go all the way to
you know,
But you're not having more money.
there's like a growing movement in the US that
Yeah, and that's probably what's gonna happen.
you know the grocery store is
Apartment complex, there's a lot of,
yeah, I mean, if you've got more shaded areas, more green areas, and just open store, we can have this event, we can have Tuscaloosa somewhere else in here. We can have 4th of July somewhere else in here. Like when we get that new park over there by the lake, that's gonna open up acre and a half of event space, green event space.
Well, I guess
Businesses, I mean,
how do they get
who doesn't like green?
Yeah, exactly. It's just.
But it goes to, like, if, like, even on Main Street, if you can have a little more greenage.
And then even do it as like a local policy, that we can have.
No.
Or they have.
Clinics have a party.
I bought honey carbs for my grandma.
Open to the public Thursday, and they have
Development
one
plan.
there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yours is only the only one.
That's part of,
Which one are we on?
I know we have
But if you get more people outside, you got more people walking around, you got more
the
people.
little areas outside, like shade.
Yes,
Curfew.
perfect deal, there you go.
24 hours, because they were, so when you're like.
Feeling what's good.
All the water features.
A walkable city, more walkable.
Oh, yeah, I remember this when they go to school, the girls and the big pool and the competition.
There, I walked.
Part of the general.
So how are we going to, summarize that?
I did.
Oh, yeah.
There was no place to like, other than in front of City Hall.
There was no place to just, kind of like, scenery or,
Like in the storefronts on Main Street, little canopy areas. Really cool.
All right,
more, opportunity. We have not.
No, we do have a little gap.
so we adopted one in 2020, the influence. The old part of the city. Small town development, but, you
And how
guys.
does that over with residents that are like?
Just what we've learned in the.
Environmental work hasn't, what have we done?
So how would that help the family?
It could, the way that we're thinking right now, that we're gonna expand the boundaries.
Road expansion.
Very possible. That presentation I gave the council a while back, they built this.
Would it
More
affect
access.
the special events?
But we're still but I don't think there's too early.
So that would be, yeah, traffic circulation.
Yeah, I know.
No, we would have to.
We need, yeah, we need maybe even a parking plan. Do a downtown parking.
In the transportation areas?
Yeah, a downtown.
Because of, and the.
That'll help everybody. The families, so that they're not parking in front of their driveways and we're not having to go. I know that Chief always says that that's the biggest thing that they get.
The families will be,
like to telling the people that are watching.
So that's gonna be school businesses, Area that,
I don't know if you've ever seen this, but
no more.
more broad, that's the city limit, this black line here.
More like.
This whole thing is the planning area. So we go all the way from county 14 to county 19. Yuma is Fuck on,
Yuma County?
no, city of Yuma.
City of Yuma?
Yeah, let me
Really?
find a,
Or expansion to make it relevant for service.
black and white. See, Yuma's like all this purple.
They're right up against.
Yeah, we really can't go much more than. That's their city limit right here. Military.
I'm just gonna what more?
All the way to the, yeah. But, 'cause Yuma only goes to D. I don't know why, but their planning area stops.
Because they don't wanna put.
I'll be Somerton. Yeah.
Who's gonna cover that? Serve that area is gonna be.
Yeah, I mean, we're good on the growth area.
For the next 5 years.
That could
probably pop up.
Yeah, they're changing.
11:45. I'm so sorry that I'm interrupting you again. It's 11:45, and in the next 15 minutes before our lunch break, we'll do Denver's gonna come to bring food. So in the next 15 minutes, we're actually going to talk about the initiatives that we came up with in our group. I'm going to take like more detailed notes, and Alexis is going to list the initiatives that we have in each group. And we're going to, again, have them around the room for our session 3 vision boarding, that will definitely help us, okay, in our vision board. So let's start with group A. And what I would want from you, please, is to tell me, like, you may have completed all because you're like, we need this and we need this. So if you could, as a group, come up with 3 initiatives, right, the 3 highlights that you have in your table. And then if you could speak to how it will benefit families, businesses, and special events, like very briefly, okay? And then what required element does it address? Does it address, let's say, land use or water resources or traffic circulation, what, okay? Starting with group A, how many have you come up? I'm just thinking, are we group A?
Yes,
Group A.
you are group A.
We came up with 3.
Okay.
The one that we will share is expansion to make development more accessible and seamless. So that's our initiative for cost of development, public services, and facilities.
Development to be more accessible.
And seamless. For example, planning for a lift station, planning for future right-of-ways, planning for, roadways, and, accessibility for, handicap. So it would affect families, it would develop more, it would increase population. Well, a lift station, for example, would bring more houses, which will increase our population. More population will help attract more businesses, and for special events, would just be, wouldn't really affect anything. Oh, but parking, so like if we work on parking, there'll be parking for special events.
Perfect.
ADA access.
Is that okay that by the end of this group discussion, we collect yours, because I can tell that you come up like with a very detailed plan?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Anything else you've got there, or did that initiative cover all of it?
For families, that will bring the grocery store, that will bring, so that's a highlight, we're missing population for another group. We see that a lot with the residents.
Yeah, so I think what, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, they blame me, they say I'm friends with the, they're still around my family. I said hi twice.
You get free groceries?
Well, it's true. It could be, I want them to know that I'm not friends with them. I want a grocery store too.
And we're talking about Walmart?
No,
No,
just the
they're
grocery
Sprouts.
store.
The judge,
We want like Calimán.
I'm good with the Cardenas or Dashes or Buffet or.
Something different.
Another thing Mayor mentioned was the multimodal, what is, can you explain that?
The multimodal?
What's
Yeah,
the-
plan, yeah. We have them, but we need to reanalyze now on the growth and, take into account pedestrians, bicyclists, even the bird was mentioned that we no longer have it, so it's like just different modes of transportation, especially for planning purposes, have a document that we can start, that we grow, and understand the, multimodal.
And OCS.
That would be a transportation plan, right? Multimodal
Yeah.
transportation plan?
Transportation plan, yeah.
Yeah, that's under transportation, circulation. And then for land use, annex developmental land. So we don't just wanna annex without, we don't wanna annex the land that we can't develop on. We wanna make sure the land we annex is good for development.
And it's up to them to go in and make a port.
Or entry.
We need a bridge.
We need a bridge.
Pedestrians,
No. If we build it, they'll use it. Whole bridge.
Oh, Rich, there you go.
Alisa panga.
Una panga.
Very.
Hey, if it carries cars.
Hey, there's money for that too.
Anything else for tonight? That's it for us, those are three.
Perfect, awesome, thank you so much. Fee, please.
Okay, so we had annexation also, for land use, I think the same, looking at, opportunities, for 95, annexing, where, for the business, there'd be an opportunity for 95, Highway 95 and Main Street. For families and businesses, again, looking at land that can be developed, that's away from, always the farmland and so forth, that brings an economic impact to the area and the community, but looking at that land that can be developed. And then for special events, it's, while we're doing that, looking at, facility planning in the future, going up to the Mesa, there's open spaces, public service, all that, is gonna be something that we look at. Benefit for families would be the services, of course, public safety, recreation, and those types of things. And then special events, again, it would be, looking at those other areas that we expand on for opportunities for facilities and open space. The other one we had was, circulation transportation, looking at road expansion, traffic circulation, especially, on our west side of town right now. That would be our short-term, because of the growth from Parkview area, the high school, and future development, both north and south side. You know, a benefit for the families, you know, school access, businesses, more businesses and opportunities. For the business, you know, they have more opportunities, but what we want to look at is designating delivery services as we get more businesses, more, the high school gets more increase, that we provide that access or designation to prepare for that, so we don't have semis rolling in with kids crossing streets and so forth, and working on that plan and so looking at that thing. And then for special events, again, we're looking at a big park that area, so it'd be a destination, so we want to make sure that circulation is properly addressed for public safety and for public use.
You say big park in like the north side? Or
West side,
the
where
west
we
side?
have a 20-acre park that's coming in on the west side. And then open spaces, you know, I think initiatives is something that we continue. I think it was mentioned is look at the new park development, continue to grow our pathways and circulation for multi-models, with the bike lanes, pedestrians, maybe, you know, the electric scooters in the future and so forth. Benefit for the families is recreational, you know, areas, open spaces. One of the things that we looked at too is the lighting. We get a lot of, we talked about, there's always people talking about more lighting when they're in the evenings, because in the summer you can't go out in the daytime, but at night they want more light to do things where it's cooler and so forth. And adding more amenities to that for families, that'd be a benefit. Business-wise, open spaces and parks, you know, maybe partnering with revenue-type businesses, like, you know, Vice Mayor mentioned, you know, Top Golf and those types of things, where maybe there's a revenue and benefit both to be able to be had there, looking at those things. And special events is, you know, when we're having those open spaces and parks, parking, that we always, you know, that's one of the challenges we have is, we have plenty of open space, but parking is never one of those priorities, and so we thought that would be something that when we develop facilities and so forth, that parking needs to be addressed.
I went to Somerton City Hall twice this week, and it took me 10 minutes each time to find a parking spot.
We're working on that, but parking in our facilities is, and there is some plans in place, but I think the short term is to focus on those.
Not Nick Cooper.
Thank you. See?
I think that one is gonna be the longest.
And under cost development, public services and facilities, our plan is to move the court to another location. Well, the court right now is in prime location on Main Street, and so the benefit, is that would open up a retail space, then for something to come on Main Street.
Corner of Union and Main.
It's not a good location for the court.
Where was the suggest?
Well, we own a building, coming into Somerton.
That's currently being used by a call center. It's a huge building, and, it's, located, yeah.
Plenty of parking too.
Plenty of parking, accessible to residents.
Okay, so the, courtroom relocation to the current call center. Okay.
And then for, open space, we, suggested a tree planting initiatives to continue those with low water usage trees. And educate our community to go to more native type of plants rather than these trees that use a lot of water. On the water resources, we think that it's never too early to start educating our community on preserving water. larger, communities like the Phoenix area and so forth, as they grow, that's been it's a challenge everywhere, that, the water, access to good water and sustainable water sources is a challenge. So right now, we're a small community, we have ample water, but, I think if we start, implementing that mindset of preserving our water, it's never too early to start. So that it's part of the community that you preserve water.
I like that one, Armando, the preservation of the water.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's the most valuable commodity that any community has, and, if we don't take care of it, we need to be mindful of that.
We need partnership with the excellent schools that we have. We need to include that in our syllabi.
About water shortages, I remember when we were kids, we could only irrigate certain days. Remember that? We could only irrigate certain days of the week.
No, that
Oh, it was also.
Your mom and dad told you that.
No, I remember that when we were little. Well, we could read my mom, she didn't want to say it out. But I remember we could only irrigate
But the
certain
water
days.
was coming from the water tower.
Our-
The water tower was smaller,
But I
It was
remember.
actually a functioning tower.
The water resource, I just want to mention that, you know, we're looking at water rights, but I think there's an opportunity for revenue also, because of the water rights that, you know, we own. And not giving away the water rights, but actually using it as a revenue source for business, opportunities, so. And that would bring additional revenue into the city.
That's all we had.
Awesome, thank you.
We've got with land use to update our infill incentive overlay plan. The plan, we've had it for 4 years, it's worked out really good. It's brought in millions of dollars of investment to the city. So we want to just build on the successes of it, expand it, and keep building on it.
So we said update the what? So,
Update the infill incentive overlay plan. Incentive overlay plan. Overlay. Overlay
overlay.
plan.
Gotta get an acronym for that.
IOP.
IOP, there you go.
IOP.
And then under circulation/transportation, we propose to create a downtown parking master plan. We're kind of looking at picking up properties here and there to expand the public parking opportunities, but, as the city grows, there'll come a point where even those properties might not be sufficient, so it's never too early to start planning for additional downtown parking. One of the most common complaints we have from merchants. Obviously, that benefits everyone. Families don't get their driveways blocked, businesses have more parking, and, special events, you could even have a pop-up farmer's market or something on when they're not being used. Open space and parks, create a tree and shade master plan similar to the city of Yuma master plan. It's a really nice plan they're putting together. And then if you notice, trees and green space was the second, it was pretty up there from both employees and resident responses, so it makes sense to go that way, tree and shade master plan. And then for cost of development and public services, we perhaps to amend the employee policy for public safety.
You got it done, you know that.
Yeah.
He's really good at throwing action.
They get too much flexibility, they get paid too much, they get too much PTO.
What's the number one in that? I would not drive or.
They get all these fringe benefits, they can take their vehicles home.
Oh, my
We
goodness.
also risk our lives every day.
No, the real conversation was that we often pay for trainings and we get turnover. They go somewhere else and we just put the bill for the training and then they leave us. So maybe amend the policy that they have to provide a commitment to the city for 3 years, 2 years, whatever it may be. And that'll benefit across the board, families, businesses, special events because we'll have a more trained and qualified workforce. Even if it's not growing the workforce, we're not having turnover, therefore the people who stay are more trained and qualified than someone who's a rookie or fresh out of the academy.
And I don't think it was even the train and qualification, it was more of, we're not, in other words, there's more of you guys in order to provide that service for us, and basically.
I don't know, you started off bad already.
Because the biggest, we were asking Councilwoman, like, what was her main, reason, and her main reason is the public safety with our growth. The growth, we don't have enough manpower in both of our public safety areas in order to, with the annexing of different areas, who's gonna cover that? I mean, you know, she's having a hard time retaining employees as far as, and even filling positions. We're still, I mean, in every meeting that we meet as directors, it's like, okay, we still have the police department, they have their 3 open positions all the time. So, and that was Councilwoman's biggest issue, is the fact that, if we grow and we do all these innovative things in all of this area, who's going to provide that public service that we need, as far as fire, as far as police?
Well, as we grow, everything else grows, crime and
So
everything.
are you also implying a pay raise, like for those people who are fulfilling this 3-year commitment?
Well, typically,
If they deserve it, yeah.
They deserve it.
No, they deserve it, it's just, it's a matter of, trying to get it to their.
typically in other cities, what I've noticed they do, they pay for their certification courses and their, so.
Yeah, we do.
Well, I was telling them that my daughter's a nurse, and,
Indian Health Services she wants to be a nurse practitioner, and they will pay for her whole schooling for the nurse practitioner, but she has to commit for 5 years to the Indian Health Services. And they'll pay for all of her funding.
Saul made a great point, and he's like, well, if the training only costs
$1,000, they might willing to pay that $1,000 and be on their way. But if the training costs $5,000, $10,000, you know, they might be more in initiative to give us the 3 years.
That's something good to look at.
Yeah.
Do we have a formula of, like, depending on how many homes are built, what?
The
Department of Justice does, yes.
How we go,
Do we include it in our, when we redevelop any land or rezone, because I know the city of Yuma, when they're doing a planning action, there is something that triggers, there's a column there that says, for public safety, like
How many
1.2 officers per,
for this area.
1,000 people, and then, so that kind of helps, because, it gives you a picture of what the impact is. That's, conversations that we've had in the past, like, we look at development and what's bringing and not the benefits of but what about the cost to the city and the additional officers, additional firefighters?
Of it,
Even, parks, we're talking about parks, I was thinking, 20 acres, we gotta start thinking how many more employees are we gonna need? Because that's something that we could take into account.
Can I add something to what you guys said about that we can have no language and, you know, we give you this training, you're gonna say for us with 3 years, and I kinda got, didn't we have that, because I know Amanda Aguirre gave, sponsored 3 of the, EMTs to go paramedic, and then 2 years they quit and they went to Yuma. It's kinda, if I'm the one sponsoring, I will be, well, why am I giving them money if they're gonna quit? I want them to be prepared for the city of Somerton. So I think
I
that,
remember bringing that subject up, because it was a shock to me when because I work for that organization, when we had sponsored those EMTs to become paramedics, that was the agreement, that they had to have, a sign, that they had to stay with the city of Somerton for 3 years. And when I found out that they didn't stay, we're like, well, where did that money go? Well, it went to the city of Yuma. When in reality, our focus was to grow those EMTs into paramedics to stay into Somerton to provide that service for our community. And so there was a little, upset there, but, I think we need to look into that, Louis, because I thought, when I came into council, I remember even just had a huge discussion on that with the previous, city manager, because that's so important. I mean, it happens with the police all the time.
And just to give everyone a little quick update, there are some legalities to that, because I've asked, I think I've asked the chief and the two chiefs this question, as I've been here at the city, and so we're actually looking at that, because we can't force them, but there are other ways to make sure that, you know, if we do pay for a certain certification, that there's a reimbursement type, so that if they really consider going somewhere else, you know, everybody can decide, they have that choice, but there is a reimbursement and the city's not losing out. And so we're looking into that.
Yeah, and you know what, with us, the organization paid for an employee master's degree, and she left, so they charged her.
Right.
And so, you know, she didn't fulfill the commitment, and so she had to pay that money back.
And that's what we're looking at, is not so much because the employment side is different from the contractual side. So employment side, we know that can't be done, but on the contractual side, that's what we're looking into, is that okay, you know, you're an employee, but if you commit to this contract and we're paying for certain things, if you don't, you know, after a certain time, you leave, then you'll be, you know, you'll need to reimburse that to the city. But again, that's something we're working on with the pool, on their services, of how that can be done. Another thing that I've seen other communities do, just to let you know, is they don't, they incentivize them in a sense where we talked about, you know, trainings and others, they incentivize. Every year if you're here, then you get a certain incentive. If you're not, then you don't, and it goes by years. But again, we'll definitely look into that contractual part.
Yeah, so I'm missing something here, you know, with the growth of Somerton, I think that we're missing something here. With the incentives, you know, Saul says that we're landlocked.
Yes.
One of the things that we probably should be talking to is to the farmers, to try to maybe incentivize them into developing, you know, similar to the way Judge was talking about the Barclays in Yuma, you know, the way they did things. You know, I don't know how to do that. Maybe I don't know. You know, we have to hit them somehow to get them to release that land for the growth.
It's a buy-in. It's
Yeah.
a buy. It is because, you know, as for the Somerton School District, it was a struggle.
Because one of the things that benefits the city is we get their water. We get things like that, and that helps preserve that side of it.
But you know, but there's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, it is.
You know, economy, revenues, you know, what they bring to the community, with workers and expense. So I think, you know, there's something, a discussion to be had about how we preserve, because, you know, going back to what we talked about, preserve with them their land until they're ready to say, hey, I want to develop. Because there is, like Councilwoman mentioned, you know, there's a lot of pushback when it comes to land and the farmers. They have a different idea, but it's generational, and sometimes that changes with the needs of the area. You know, Phoenix and all those areas, a lot of farmland, different things developed. But again, that's something that we have to plan with and provide that information to mayor and council as we move forward, because it's something that really needs to be looked at on both sides. Yeah, would it be great we had more land? Yeah, but if what would happen if all the farmland went away? How does that impact our economy and our sustainability? So, yeah.
Thank you. So, yeah, these are all amazing initiatives that you have for the next, for the whole 6 to 5 years, but now that you kind of heard one another, was there any other initiatives or that kind of like sparked, another innovative idea for you? I'm gonna ask like Group A, like listening to others, talking about how their initiatives will benefit, families, businesses, and special events. Is there anything else that you want me to add to your group?
Pretty similar.
All right, what about group B? Listening to other groups, is there anything else you want to add to your list?
No, I think we have plenty.
All right, group B, good?
We're good.
We're good? Group B, perfect. Ready for lunch break?
Yeah, let's not.
Can we get a group picture? Before.
Group picture before we go.
And I do know I hate, my students actually hate the 1:30 PM, class time, because they're like, we just had lunch and now we're heavy, right? So anyway, I actually came up with this activity just to make sure that we have a good, collaboration and a good, I guess, innovative activity. And since the strategic planning is pretty much our visionary, our missionary and visionary retreat, I wanted to share with you an activity that my mentorship group, right, the one that Louis talked about, that I got the $20,000 innovation fund for, and I'm so proud of. You know how they say we all have resolutions, right, at around Christmas time, and science has showed that by mid or late January, we usually forget about them or we don't commit to it, and so we're all about how can we revisit the resolution. So end of January, we had a vision board workshop as part of our feminine women empowerment initiative, and they each came up with a vision board. Today I have mine, that's mine actually. And Louis mentioned that it's in the newspaper as well, so this is one of the students, and we have it on page 4. So I went ahead, and I'm sorry, and I stole 3 copies from the city one, so I'm sorry about that. It was
That's where you get there.
it's 3 or 4, it's my fault, but, sorry. So this is the vision board that I created for my 2024. I can talk about it very briefly. It's very precious to me, and the things that I included in this vision board, and I have some newspapers for you. I know you're like, hey, how can I really relate these different types of newspapers? But it can be just one word that really highlights, and it may be decontextualized, but you can make it contextualized to your purpose, right? So for around, and you may remember, for around 12, 13 years, I had my hair straight, right? And I hated it. I hated my curls. And it's been around 1.5 years. You may remember, I have very straight hair. For around 1.5 years, my hairstylist completely, gave up on me. And said, you have to somehow, let your hair heal, right? I'm like, all right, I'm going to embrace my curls, which is why I put it at the center. I'm like, love yourself, love, body positivity, and just embrace your curls. So that's it. Again, this is a personal. We don't want it to make it personal, but I just want you to get an idea. I am gonna go to Europe in summer. I'm super excited. Gonna go see these 5 countries for 3 weeks. So I'm super excited about that. I booked my flight. I'm a planner, not a city planner, but my dissertation was on planning. My PhD thesis was on planning, so I've done all the planning, the itinerary, so that's very important. collective empowerment and women empowerment is really my passion, and, you know, it's just something that I get really excited to talk about, so that's another thing. Self-love, like all these little joys, right? So I just went ahead and I have that actually in my office, and once in a while I look at it and I'm like, okay, am I there? Am I still committed to any, like, all those visions and resolutions that I had in mind? So we are gonna do something similar. Like I said, we have some really cool vision boards that together we came up with all the 30 participants. Just gonna really briefly show them to you. These are the ones that our students actually came up with. So as you're just flipping through this newspaper to the picture that really stands out and you can somehow connect it to the opportunity or to the initiative, or there is one word that, let's say, if it's family, if it's inclusive, if it's agriculture, right? All those keywords that we discussed today, right? Again, these are some of the vision boards. They each made it theirs. It was very personalized. Here we go. And that is on the front page of the newspaper. So we're going to create our vision board, and it would be great if we can keep the supplies.
Move everything to that table.
Louis, I'm not gonna take this, okay?
We're watching you.
Promise.
We can put everything on that table if you like.
We have some clippings. These are all the newspapers, don't worry about it. I got them from, retired city planner of San Luis, so we can use this.
Yeah, you can leave that there.
Okay, so we have push pins, we also have some, stickers, but if you wanna put the, like, let's say, the slogan, right? I mean, 2024, 2010, whatever you have. We have some colors, paper, if you wanna go ahead and write them. And just
We'll make it this way.
look diverse. Look through the magazine.
Sure, it doesn't matter if we go sideways, like this.
No, it doesn't matter. You make yours. Yeah. Exactly. We know. Colorful ones are.
This is the top, and this is the bottom. Okay.
We have some highlighters and pens. Here, some magazines if you wanna. Great.
I had a paper in the shower right now, and I lost it.
Oh, shoot, sorry. Do you remember the magazine? We have some more magazines here too, yeah.
I had five of them. Oh, I want this one.
Some more magazines.
Perfect, huh?
Family business.
Yeah, let's focus on those three pillars of family, special events, and then, maybe like 15 to choose. Again, one person from each group can showcase the vision board and talk about the symbols, right, or the symbolism of their choices.
I nominate Jasmine to be
You can either use the push pin or you can
There you
use
go.
the glue.
Nice.
Here we go. Let me see, Ronnie. Go ahead.
Just fine. Oh, I found it here.
You can use glue or you can use push pin.
Here we go.
Or you can just put them here and then decide the layout. Ooh, I like that, distribution. Okay, And I know that we may be kind of limited, right, on the images and on the captions, which is why we have this, color paper. If you wanna write stuff down, if you wanna cut it, right, you each should have different color paper. Oh, it's on the word already. This is all color paper, do we want it?
Just see that, over black and Somerton, from all the keywords, for measure your life, and maybe you can figure out. There's just creative. Yeah. Imagine it. Hey, remember our HR and, hey, our teacher, Mr. What's his name? No, Bella's out of the AV. Can't remember the.
Yeah. Look what they found.
The grade what?
The greatest day. It's exciting. Summer night with more lighting.
Ay, didn't like these.
Mira las palabras.
Mira, puro something. Es de puro.
Something for business.
Yeah.
Welcome home, this one.
No, que es donde trabaja yo.
Welcome home, this one. Why was she on the board? Right?
I have my other Instagram. ¿Tiene música?
Alexa's right.
Something?
What do you want?
Yeah, let's listen.
Don't say Bad Bunny, please.
Carol G.
Carol, no, finally, instead of her, you look at them, what
No, we can't get to deal with them.
yeah, Alexa.
Imagine these are little Mexican. Uy, excuse me. Excuse me, baby. I'm not a barbarian.
Person has joined. One person.
Intro sentence, welcome home.
To represent the grocery store.
Oh.
All together.
It's like, it's
No, es que le iban a decir que no me gusta la comida cruda, güey. Ahorita voltearon a ver,
But I have to say it. You know, when you need to say it. Yeah, that's good.
No, way too romantic.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. Chocolate cookies?
Never said no.
Right?
Thank you. No, thank you.
I'm good, thank you.
Then we're gonna get this.
Okay.
There we go, they're fine.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no, thank you.
Esta sería.
Oh, did they? Oh, really? Oh, really?
There's some nice things right there. Oh, they're all different. Okay.
Cougar this year.
No, no.
O dame el modelo.
Does anybody have an N? And there should be. You check. Where's the rest of it? Is that all we got? Here. Oh, right there. Oh. Yeah.
Perfect. Before,
You know.
Action. Here. Oh, that's me. Yeah.
voy a tomar foto lo que fue. ¿Dónde? Voy a tomar foto lo que fue.
We had a joint effort, the group,
Maybe.
for group B and D, right?
Yes.
So can I ask you to please go and maybe come up with a narrative and then, Daniela can take a photo? All right.
Sí, pero es nomás falta, tienes que revisar si no se graba.
You don't wanna join? You don't wanna join so you can take a photo? You're good for Rodney,
We'll take the group photo.
the mayor, the city manager, myself. I'll run through this real quick. So it's about families, businesses, and what's the other one? Special events. So we went and picked a little bit of everything. And well, I'm gonna start on this side. So it talks about how we want beautiful scenery for the public and the people that live there are coming in. We want everybody to know that we have registration open, we always have special events throughout the year, so. And we also want inclusiveness for everybody. We want to hear the community's voice, we want the community's opinion, and we want the staff's opinion as well. We got a lot of outdoor right now, Somerton has real nice pathways, and we want to continue to have that. We have fishing at the pond at Cancel Park. Before and after, we're gonna talk a little bit about the construction. We have construction going on, continuous construction, and Somerton, of course, the best in Arizona. We talked about community, collaboration, and we got a little parking here, I did that one, momentum. We wanna, as we're, selling ourselves out to people that are coming into town or people that are staying, we wanna tell them that, hey, we're working on this, we're working on that arrow, it's momentum, we're not gonna lose it, we're gonna continue to grow. Places to see, of course, we wanna continue to thrive. It's 4th of July is a huge celebration to the city of Somerton. We open up, actually, we allow people to park in bike lanes so people can come, and there's gonna be there should be enough parking space. Family inclusiveness,
donations, inclusiveness. We work very closely with the Poco Bar Reservation. And once in a while, for those of you that don't know, and maybe Saul knows, there's a little piece of land in the Pichan. I don't know if you know that, Jonah. It's about 3 tables together. That's how big it is. And it's in Somerton. So that's inclusiveness on that one. Imagine your life in the future. So growth. We talk about growth. We talk about houses, merchants coming in, and of course safety is going to be very, very important. Animal control, animals being safe, and for us, and I think for a lot of folks, it's not just for us, but we always say, food is very important. Sitting down at the table, fellowshipping, getting to know each other, spending time bonding, it's all going to come back to this. And I was asking Sara, how long you been dealing with Hispanic people? She said 2019?
That's right.
You know what this is?
Absolutely.
We put this on everything. Best place to live now, and then of course we want to remind the people that go away after high school and they go to, university, colleges. We want to remind them, hey, welcome back home. You're coming back to us, serving a different capacity. And I think that covered everything. Beautiful.
Awesome, thank you.
Keith, we're gonna take a picture on board.
Yes, sir.
No.
Okay, our 5-year goal is to be the top 10 city in Arizona.
Oh, we're going to count.
Okay.
December. Okay, and now me. Awesome, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. You want to go next?
Charles?
A lot on here, again, this is a 5-year one, 24 to 29. It is, Somerton, the moment, so warm welcome. We want you to come in and be welcome there. And, you know, that warmth comes from the family feeling. Here's your dog park, walking your dog. Here's your little dog right here. And like she said, this is all about food over here. When I first came here to Somerton, gained 40 pounds. I lost it again, so it's like, yeah. You know, one thing I've heard a lot about here today, and what really inspired me was feedback inspires. We want to hear that feedback, so that's what we're looking for. Imagine and create with us. Think about the possibilities when we hear the feedback and how that can come back in your imagination, your creativity, your thoughts can help us together grow something bigger and better. Again, we got the farmers, a family history of conservation. We have a great escape, water. I mean, Somerton is a great escape. To be honest with you, it really is. We got the water conservation, a group effort. That's what we're doing here. It's a group effort that we're doing, and guess what? You'll love it, guaranteed. Dig the good life, distinctive, sustainable, unforgettable, an abundant heritage. Consider your neighbors, which they do. Everybody there in Somerton does a great job of that. I love that. We're a very diverse, small town with a lot of color. We had to find that one. The magazines were all white. And one of the things here that we have to think about is the courage to think beyond the box of what you're normally doing. Think outside of it. Don't just think in this little bitty thing like that. You know, and all of it is all about all of us. You know, how we create life every day in Somerton. So, hoorah.
Hoorah. Take your time. Now let them take a group picture and then.
What is that, Jeff? Yeah. There we go.
Hey, Jasmine, it's okay, inside voice. He's not getting ready.
That's all right, Jasmine. Love yourself. Nosotros casi ya.
Thank you for being so.
Jasmine, there you go. Jasmine.
Go, Jasmine.
We say the best to that, though.
Well, our board is probably the most scattered, but probably the best.
I beg to differ.
So in Somerton, in the next 5 years, we would love to be the top 10 city in Arizona, or one of the top 10 cities in Arizona. One way that we can do that is almost duplicating or implementing a lot of the policies and growth strategies that Gilbert implemented. In the past 5 years, they've grown exponentially, and I believe that we can almost follow a similar model. They're very big on community engagement, events. They're also big on sporting events, students, and providing quality of life overall, including giving outdoor amenities.
Next time we visit Gilbert next year, outside the treat.
Have a water tower.
Yeah, there you go.
We're also big on a water tower. I also would like to see Somerton downtown be revitalized a little bit. I added a nice little picture. Maybe we want to make it, you know, those downtowns that you just know Christmas time looks amazing there. I would like to have that ambiance downtown if we can somehow develop it, and then also have a like a 4-weekend Christmas event special down in Somerton, where every weekend people come down. I would also love it to be where the community engagement is. Well, I would love it to be where the ambiance and welcomes market. What do you call them? Saturday market. Farmer market. I believe we already have the ambiance to host that, but for some reason we're just not hosting them. But I believe once we start including like farmer markets, we start introducing or pushing the narrative of what town we really are, which is youthful, progressive, and overall community-based, which is what we're leaning towards. Along with the athletes in town, one thing that I noticed as an outsider is that a lot of really great athletes come out of Somerton. There isn't a conversation I don't have with people who are like, oh, I know so-and-so that was a wrestler there. I know so-and-so that was a baseball player there. Sports is an extremely big niche that we have in Somerton that we don't touch on in terms of our product. Right now, our product in Somerton is events, but I feel like our product can also be tied into, well, this is where athletes come out of, and this is where you want to live because your child will probably be an athlete, or scouts come and look at athletes here, etc. So Mayor cut this out of the top producers of Hispanic graduates. So double. Yeah, double. So of course,
Mayor, you paid her to do that.
None of this can't happen without rooftops. And then we've known this. We've talked about this several times today, that rooftops and population is necessary for all of our desires to manifest. And the only way that we can do that is if we just let Saul do so. No, but introducing housing, but not just any housing, introducing a diversified market of housing. We can have low income, we can have high income, just like Yuma. Yuma has its starter homes, it has its established homes, it has its prestige neighborhoods, it has its old money neighborhoods. So we need to start developing that diversification that will bring in the population and the diversification of people, which will result in just the quality of life. And then lastly, we have, Andrea, cut this out. So hiking and which is like a word of agriculture and adventure together, yeah. So just increasing the quality of life, so increasing amenities, outdoor amenities for our population overall is a desirable product that we should have in our town. Right now, perhaps we all know parks are nice, bike roads are nice, but the generation that's coming up that will be the future home buyers, that will be our future employees, that will be the future of our city, they are looking for this type of quality of life. And like I said in the beginning, our product is events, we have that already, and if we can work around everything else, our town can definitely be the future Gilbert. That's it.
go up for the picture. I think you have an excellent now too, then.
Yeah, she was a
There was
student.
supposed to be a bathroom.
Oh, yeah.
I know, but you,
What piece?
hey, yeah. You helped them, so we're gonna let you take credit for that.
Lex is coming to them, okay.
Oh, yeah.
One.
Amanda, can you take a picture?
Yeah, well, why don't you get it, get in there, yeah, well, Armando will take a picture.
Oh, yeah. Fine.
We heard you helping them
And cheering.
and cheering. Yeah. Yeah, come on. You come out sideways, you'll be alive. Yeah, my leg in there. Come on.
Gilbert, have a
Thank you. This was beautiful. Again, I'm so glad that you actually put all these ideas that we've been talking about on a vision board that you can so proudly showcase. I hope you don't fight over who is going to be, hanging with the vision board in their office, but that's beautiful. So, we're all set for our first retreat. Do you wanna have some closing remarks as for
Well,
what
the mayor will close, but I just wanna thank you, Sara, for, moderating and helping us do this, so thank you very much.
And Mayor, just for your time and, thank you.
My pleasure.
It was great. And again, just being the framework for what's coming, we have a new management team, and hopefully we get past buy-in and come with a great vision and mission and strategic plan. Thanks a lot.
Thank you all for holding it, appreciate it, that's, very good.
Like the mayor said at the beginning, this is not, it's a collaborative job from everybody, especially you guys are the ones that know what in Somerton, the needs, and because you guys are the voice and the ears and eyes of us, you should come and present this to us. We're so grateful for you guys, because you guys are the ones making our life easier. So, but thank you, and just keep us in the loop, and whatever, we can do, I think we'll be more than glad to. We have the tour, we're gonna tour facility. If you wanna take the tour, it's really, we're looking at the possibilities of a museum in Somerton. So this will be a great opportunity to look at, what they're doing here and what we might be able to start off and look at it in our, community stuff. Meeting adjournment? Meeting adjourned.
More 40 minutes.